Chapter 598. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yes, you three will know what cruelty is later. Ninth senior sister, I plan to hand them over to Xueling for training. When Xueling and the others are ready to carry out the mission, they will pass. Love go little say. Chunite Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and announced his decision. Let's do that. If they can't handle it, they can go back so they don't lose their lives in the future. Yang Lei nodded. The cultivation intensity of the original Bloodstrike Guard could be said to be brutal. When the Celestial Fate Palace team had seen it, they had been extremely shocked. However, everyone's cultivation level was now the same. Ho Jian and the others were also strict with themselves, so their cultivation and training level naturally wouldn't be any lower than the original Bloodstrike Guard. After drinking, Night Sorrow led everyone to the God-slaying team's area. Night Sorrow waved his hand and called for Xueling and Ho Jian. Captain. Xueling and Ho Jian saluted Night Sorrow as they came to greet him. These three guys are disciples of the Medicine Valley. They want to fight with me. As their martial uncle, I can't not give them a chance. But they have to grasp the opportunity themselves. From today onwards, I'll leave the three of them to the two of you. You can decide the training plan and goal. If they can't complete it or feel that it's not good enough, let them go. Night Sorrow pointed at Ma Shizhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning. Ma Shizhuang and the other two came out and bowed to Xueling and Ho Jian. Yes, if they have ideas, we have to give them a chance. But whether they are suitable or not is another matter. Captain, I won't compromise. That will harm them and the other brothers, Xueling said. You two can decide on this matter. From today onwards they will train with you. Ninth senior sister, give them some resources later, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei. After that, Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu left. The rest was up to Tang Tian and the rest. I don't know if they can withstand the pressure. Xueling and the others are not easy to deal with. They won't change their principles, Sikong Chiu said. It's better if you don't know how to be flexible. If you do, you'll lose your life on the battlefield, Night Sorrow said. After returning to the main building in the backyard, Night Sorrow went to meditate and cultivate. Not everything could affect Night Sorrow's cultivation plan. He cultivated for an entire day. After exiting the cultivation chamber, Night Sorrow took a bath and changed into a new set of robes. Then he went to the God-slaying squad's cultivation area. When Night Sorrow arrived, he saw Xueling training Ma Zhuang and the other two. Xueling was using the same level of cultivation to fight them, but the three of them were defeated by Xueling again and again. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com. In a battle, cultivation isn't necessarily the key to victory. Battle awareness and adaptability are very important. If the three of you can't last 10 minutes in 2 days, you can go back to where you came from. After defeating Ma Zhuang and the other two again, Xueling came to Night Sorrow's side. How about them? I still say the same thing. They can't compromise, Night Sorrow said as he looked at Tang Tian and the other two. They're just SOSO. However, if they can't meet the requirements, they'll have to leave, Xueling said. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't have any objections to this kind of training. When Night Sorrow saw Yang Lei and Xueling, he said to Nangong Dai and the others, you guys don't have to watch. Let your ninth Uncle Master and Uncle Sikong show you around the city in the afternoon. After that, Night Sorrow left. He was just here to take a look. He wouldn't accompany Nangong Dai and the others to go shopping. Ninth Uncle Master, that training is a little too cruel. After following Yang Lei and the others out of the mansion, Nangong Dai said with lingering fear. She couldn't remember how many times Ma Zhuang and the other two had been defeated. There's nothing we can do about it. If we don't have strict requirements now, we'll just die if we go out to war, Yang Lei said. Can't we cultivate naturally? Su Feng asked. The members of the God-slaying team are required to have the ability to fight above their level. Actual combat strength is very important. The team won't accept members with high cultivation but low combat strength. If Ma Zhuang and the other two can't prove themselves, then your 13th Uncle Master can't do anything about it. After all, it's a team. Your 13th Uncle Master has to be responsible for the team. This isn't a joke, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow returned to the secret cultivation room and started cultivating. Night Sorrow was still a little anxious because the war with the Tianfeng dynasty could start at any time. While Night Sorrow and the others were cultivating, Lan Yuxuan came to the Qingxin cottage. After learning that Night Sorrow was cultivating in seclusion, Lan Yuxuan waited. Night Sorrow's identity as a Heaven's Extremity emissary qualified her to wait. However, in the evening Wu Lingfei appeared. Seeing Wu Lingfei, Lan Yuxuan quickly bowed. You must have something to do here. Wu Lingfei looked at Lan Yuxuan and asked. I'm here to deliver resources to Heaven's Extremity Emissary. Someone completed the mission and brought back 2 desolate stones, Lan Yuxuan said. Oh? Someone actually completed the desolate stones mission. The mission reward was paid by Tianji Tower, right? What do you want? I'll give it to you, Wu Lingfei said. That person turned in the mission. He didn't want soul crystals or top-grade crystals. He only wanted life spirit fluid, Lan Yuxuan said. Show me the desolate stones. Wu Lingfei frowned. 3 key% unique? Square root original X edition A**. All others are pirates. Edition A Night Sorrow also came at this time. He nodded at Lan Yuxuan and called for the servants to make tea. After looking at the desolate stones, Wu Lingfei handed the desolate stones to Night Sorrow. However, she still narrowed her eyes and pondered. How much life spirit fluid? Night Sorrow asked. 10 drops, Lan Yuxuan said. Night Sorrow nodded. He filled a jade bottle with 10 drops of life spirit fluid and handed it to Lan Yuxuan. Then Lan Yuxuan bowed to Wu Lingfei and Night Sorrow and left the Qingxin cottage. It should be, Wu Lingfei said. What's wrong, Auntie Fei? Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Wu Lingfei and asked. The 2 desolate stones just now were covered with dust, soil and air. This means that they weren't newly obtained. They should have been stored for a long time. They didn't want soul crystals or top-grade spirit stones, but only life spirit fluid. This means that they urgently need to replenish their vitality. It's very likely that Jiyu's family brought these desolate stones to Tianji Tower to turn in the mission, Wu Lingfei said. Isn't that giving Jiyu Haitian a chance to recover? Night Sorrow said in surprise. He didn't want to give Jiyu Haitian a chance to recover because of him. It doesn't matter. Even if you give him a treasure to replenish his vitality, it will be very difficult for him to recover. Not only did he lose an arm, but you also hit him twice with the mysterious jade hand. His condition isn't good. Even with the help of life spirit fluid, it's unlikely for him to recover. It's even more impossible for him to increase his cultivation. He's no longer a match for you, Wu Lingfei said. That's good. I don't want my resources to go to my opponents, Night Sorrow said. Ah, aren't there resources supporting your rise? It's hard to say who will suffer losses and who will benefit, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. But I need a lot of desolate stones. It's not easy to convert the energy in my body into desolate's power, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 599. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with wonderful novels to read. I understand. I plan to go to the desolate sea when I have time. I have to find my own opportunities. It's a bit difficult to wait for them, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Your thoughts and train of thought are correct, but you should wait. Aunt Fei won't be at ease if you don't go out until you reach the Venerable Realm. Only when you reach the Venerable Realm and can cultivate the spatial crack will I be at ease, Wu Lingfei said. I understand. Don't worry, Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. You're in a good state now. How about this, come with me. I'll teach you the secret technique of Soul Avatar. Wu Lingfei then led Night Sorrow to the viewing tower. Updated, new, fast equals 7. After arriving at the observation tower, Wu Lingfei gave Yishang a general description of the Soul Avatar. The requirements to cultivate Soul Avatar were very high. Similarly, the stronger one's soul power, the better. If one's soul power cultivation was low, even if one had the secret technique of Soul Avatar, they wouldn't dare to cultivate it. If they failed, the consequences would be very serious. To cultivate Soul Avatar, one had to first separate a strand of soul power and put it into the medium of the avatar. There were many kinds of medium to cultivate Soul Avatar, such as Soul Raising Stone, Yin-Yang Stone, Fantasy Spirit Stone, but the best one was the Phantom Stone. Love, Gon Little say Chu. After the soul power entered the medium, one could cultivate it. In the beginning, the medium couldn't leave the body until the avatar was formed. Before the avatar was formed, the body had to control the soul power to absorb the energy of the Phantom Stone and use the soul power as the core to form the body. This was the first stage. The second stage was cultivation. After the avatar was formed, it began to absorb energy to strengthen the body. The cultivation of Soul Avatar is divided into 3 levels according to the amount of soul power you put in. The more soul power you put in, the higher the starting point of the avatar. The highest level of Soul Avatar will have 70% of the body's combat power after it's cultivated, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. I think Auntie Fei should have some good suggestions for me, Night Sorrow said. That's right. Low-level Soul Avatars don't have much battle prowess. They just need to be stationed in important places. If something happens, the main body will be the first to know. This is relatively simple. All you need is a strand of soul power. It won't affect the main body. The second is a soul clone with 30% to 40% of the main body's fighting power. This requires a third of the main body's soul power. Almost no one dares to touch this kind of thing, Wu Lingfei said. Why didn't anyone touch it? Night Sorrow asked in confusion. Listen to Auntie Fei first. That was the first two. The third one requires half of the soul power. When this kind of avatar is cultivated to the large success stage, it will have 60% to 70% of the original body's fighting power. Because of this choice, those who can cultivate soul avatars will either cultivate the first one, which won't cause any harm to the body, or the third one, which will cause great harm to the body. But once the soul avatar is successfully cultivated, it will be equivalent to having an additional battle partner that is connected to the mind. The second one is a bit useless, so very few people cultivate it. Wu Lingfei explained to Night Sorrow why almost no one cultivated the second one. Then I'll definitely cultivate the third one. Night Sorrow directly made his decision. The first one didn't have much meaning and the second one was useless. Auntie Fei guessed that you would choose this and will support your choice. Auntie Fei told you about the ordinary soul avatar cultivation methods. But Auntie Fei's soul avatar cultivation methods are high level. When the third one is cultivated to the large success stage, it will have 90% of the original body's strength, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Auntie Fei has many cultivation methods, and they are also powerful. Night Sorrow smiled at Wu Lingfei. Baidu search AI_Go_Xiao_Shuo www.ipicstorytelling.com. No, in fact, many of Auntie Fei's battle skills and cultivation methods are inherited from the clan. High-level spirit beasts all have their clan's inheritance. When they grow to a certain extent, they will comprehend the clan's secret skills. Alright, listen well, Auntie Fei will now tell you the specific cultivation method. Wu Lingfei moved closer to Night Sorrow and told him the cultivation method for Soul Avatar. After speaking, Wu Lingfei's face turned pale and her body swayed. Auntie Fei, what's wrong? Night Sorrow reached out to support Wu Lingfei. Although some things shouldn't be done, if you want to do it, the secret skills of the Ice Phoenix clan should not be taught to others. There are some restrictions on the soul. Auntie Fei is a bit overboard. Wu Lingfei took 2 deep breaths and said, Auntie Fei, I don't want to learn it. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, It's okay, Auntie Fei can withstand it. If you didn't enter the Sage Realm, the consequences would be serious. Now it's not a big problem, but you can't teach this to others. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. I understand, I definitely won't. Night Sorrow nodded seriously. You call me Auntie Fei, so this kind of punishment is not very serious. If you teach the secret skills to unrelated people, the consequences will be unimaginable. Auntie Fei will be fine after resting for a while. I will definitely recover in 2 or 3 days. But you cultivated soul avatar and your soul was injured. It will take some time for you to recover. Auntie Fei estimates that it will take at least half a year to a year. It shouldn't delay your advancement to the venerable realm. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Then Night Sorrow made a pot of tea for Wu Lingfei. Okay, if you want to cultivate, then finish the important stage here. Wu Lingfei took a sip of tea and said. Night Sorrow nodded and sorted out the soul avatar secret technique. Then he took out the biggest Void Dao stone. Why is it so big? Isn't it the original one? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow told her about how he had picked up the leftovers. You can even encounter such a thing. This is not bad. Wu Lingfei was also convinced by Night Sorrow. No one would believe that he could pick up a Void Dao stone so casually. Auntie Fei, then I'll start. After nodding to Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow held the Void Dao stone with both hands. Then he poured the soul power in the Spirit Sea into the Void Dao stone. The Void Dao stone did not reject anyone. It absorbed all the soul power that Night Sorrow could not see with the naked eye, but he could feel it. The consumption of a large amount of soul power was very uncomfortable. Night Sorrow persisted until half of the soul power in the Spirit Sea had disappeared. Only then did Night Sorrow stop. Then he communicated with the soul power in the Void Dao stone and controlled the circulation of the soul power in the Void Dao stone to absorb the energy of the Void Dao stone. At this moment, Night Sorrow's face was pale, as if he had been severely injured. In fact, Night Sorrow's soul had been severely injured. This was because this was not an ordinary consumption of soul power. Half of the soul power that had entered the Void Dao stone belonged to Night Sorrow's source power. Forcefully enduring the discomfort in his body, Night Sorrow continued to communicate with the soul power in the Void Dao stone to cultivate. This was a very crucial step, and in the Soul Avatar secret technique, it was called foundation building. It took Yishang an entire day to stabilize the soul force within the Phantom Dao Stone. The energy within the Phantom Dao Stone formed a cocoon that wrapped around the soul force that Yishang had released into the Phantom Dao Stone. It wouldn't be lost because of Yishang's lack of control. Chapter 600. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Feeling stable, Night Sorrow opened his eyes, but his eyes were full of fatigue. This time, Night Sorrow's injury was very serious. It was an injury to his soul origin. Building your foundation is the most dangerous. Once you pass this stage, there won't be any big problems. Wu Lingfei said. Thank you, Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow said. Don't be so polite with Aunt Fei. Take this ice silk bag and put it in the Void Dao Stone. Remember, don't let the Void Dao Stone leave your side. That way your soul power will easily dissipate and your compatibility with your main body will also be low. Also, be careful not to let other people's soul power come into contact with it. In ancient times, high-level spirit cultivators whose bodies were destroyed liked to steal other people's avatars when they were cultivating. Wu Lingfei said. Soul avatars can also be stolen? Night Sorrow said in surprise. You should know about possession. Just like the life saintess you met in the death space, what she did to you was possession. Possession is to erase other people's souls and seize the body. Stealing soul avatars is the same and the success rate is higher. After all, soul avatars don't have much defense in the first stage. Wu Lingfei said. I understand. I will pay attention. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that there was nothing wrong with being careful. Love, go little say W. Chu, go back and rest. You also suffered serious injuries this time, but to cultivate soul avatars this stage must be passed. Wu Lingfei said. After leaving Wu Lingfei's observation tower, Night Sorrow felt that he had indeed suffered a lot of damage. He didn't know how long it would take to recover. In the main building, Night Sorrow saw Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow, why is your face so ugly? Why didn't you leave the mansion? Xikong Chuyu asked as he helped Night Sorrow to sit down. It's fine. I'm cultivating a secret technique that consumes a lot of energy. I'll go meditate to recover. This time it'll take a bit longer. Ninth senior sister, help me keep an eye on Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian and Chu Ning. Also, get them some tier 3 and tier 4 medicinal pills. Don't use the team's resources. After saying that, Night Sorrow entered the secret cultivation room to cultivate. 13. What's wrong? Yang Lei's eyes were filled with worry. She didn't understand what was going on. It shouldn't be a big problem. If it was, he wouldn't have hidden it from us, Xikong Chuyu said. When Night Sorrow returned to the secret training room, he took out the Void Dao Stone and placed it on his legs. Then he took out the Profound Turtle Crystal and woke Shao Kong up. What's wrong with you? Little Kong, who was awakened by Night Sorrow, immediately noticed that something was wrong with Night Sorrow. Yishang then told him about how he had cultivated a soul doppelganger. The space-time pagoda has the ability to repair the flaws in a cultivator's soul. As for whether or not it can help you repair it, I don't know. Just give it a try. If it can't repair it, then replenish it, Little Kong said to Night Sorrow. Depleted energy and origin energy were two completely different concepts. Depleted energy could be replenished with some time. However, if one's origin energy was damaged, it would be very difficult to repair. If one consumed too much energy, it wouldn't be considered an injury. However, if one's origin energy was damaged, it would be a serious injury. After cultivating for 2 hours, Night Sorrow smiled. The spacetime pagoda was simply too overbearing. It constantly provided energy to strengthen the quality of one's soul power. It was just like when Night Sorrow first entered the spacetime pagoda. Back then, Night Sorrow's soul power wasn't perfect. It was the spacetime pagoda's energy that improved it to a perfect state. The effect was beyond Night Sorrow's imagination. Since it could be repaired, Night Sorrow felt at ease and began cultivating. Night Sorrow was now cultivating naturally. Other than providing energy to repair his soul, the spacetime pagoda was also assisting Night Sorrow's cultivation of his primary energy and bloodline power. With the assistance of the Black Tortoise Crystal, the myriad Dash treasured tome's cultivation speed was also very fast. Time slowly slipped away and Night Sorrow's soul slowly recovered. It was a fundamental recovery. 1 month had passed, but Night Sorrow still hadn't come out. Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu grew anxious. The two of them didn't dare disturb Night Sorrow and went to look for Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei told the two that Night Sorrow had suffered some injuries due to cultivating a secret technique. He needed time to recover and there wasn't any problem. After hearing Wu Lingfei's explanation, the two of them were relieved. During this period, Lin Yuandao also came once to discuss the matter of attacking the Tianfeng dynasty with Wu Lingfei. After hearing that Night Sorrow was in seclusion, he didn't disturb Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's seclusion this time was the longest. It was only until the 3rd month that his soul power recovered to its original state. After sensing his spirit sea, Night Sorrow was overjoyed because his spirit sea was incomparably round again. It had once again reached its perfect state. In addition, Night Sorrow's primary energy had also reached the peak of the 8th level of the Void Inquiry stage. His myriad Dao's treasured tome had also reached the mid-6th level of the Dao-seeking realm. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine from the wine jar, Night Sorrow went out of the secret cultivation room. After taking a bath, he went to the main hall of the main building and brewed a pot of tea. "Why are you in seclusion for so long? Why can't you rest before going? You don't know how worried we are." Yang Lei came out and glared at Night Sorrow when she saw him. "There's something wrong with my body. I went to recover," Night Sorrow said. "Seeing that your mental state is excellent, there shouldn't be any problem." Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. "I'm fine. I've fully recovered." "Then I'm relieved. Also, there's something I want to tell you. I've already comprehended the purple flame lightning attribute. I'm also cultivating my body now. I've asked Aunt Fei and she said that it's the purple flame physique which is relatively more domineering." Yang Lei told Night Sorrow a piece of good news. "This is great news. I still need to get you some lightning attribute crystals. That way your cultivation base will improve faster," Night Sorrow said. While Night Sorrow and Yang Lei were chatting, Sikong Chuyu also came. After asking about Night Sorrow's situation, Sikong Chuyu saw the ice silk bag on Night Sorrow's waist. "Night Sorrow, what bag is hanging on your waist?" "It's a void Dao stone. I've cultivated a soul avatar." Night Sorrow didn't hide it from the two girls because there was no need. If the two girls wanted to talk about learning, Night Sorrow would explain. Yishang wouldn't selfishly hurt Wu Lingfei for the sake of the two women. So it's like this. You're not feeling well because of cultivating a soul avatar? Yang Lei understood the key. It's like this. How's the situation outside? Have Ma Shizhuang and the other two adapted? Night Sorrow asked. We don't know what the situation is like. Chief K-Lord came once. Also, Ma Shizhuang and the other two are not bad. They all endured Xueling's devilish training and entered the Severed Soul stage last month. Now everyone has accepted them. Yang Lei said. Then let's go take a look. I'll give them some gifts. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 601. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. When Night Sorrow arrived, Ma Shizhuang and the other two were practicing their combat skills under Ho Jian's guidance. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. Seeing Yishang arrive, everyone stopped cultivating and cupped their hands in greeting. Xueling, Ho Jian, how are the three of them? Night Sorrow looked at Xueling and Ho Jian and asked. Not bad. They just need to slowly improve their cultivation. Their combat awareness and combat skills are good, Ho Jian said. Xueling also nodded. You three come here. Night Sorrow waved at Ma Shizhuang and the other two. After Ma Shizhuang and the other two came over, they bowed to Night Sorrow. In the team, I'm your team leader. In private, I'm your uncle. Night Sorrow emphasized his position. Seeing Ma Shizhuang and the other two nod, Night Sorrow took out 3 beast-taming crystals and gave them to them. Then change your mounts. When you're done with your cultivation, come with me. I'll buy you a few battle robes. Ma Shizhuang and the others nodded. They knew that this was their uncle's concern. After watching everyone practice for a while, Night Sorrow greeted the two girls and went to the observation tower where Wu Lingfei was. When Night Sorrow arrived, Wu Lingfei also came upstairs to the living room and personally made tea. Something's not right. The effect of cultivating the soul doppelganger seems to have disappeared. This shouldn't be. Even if it's recovered, it's only a quantitative recovery. If the soul isn't complete, it will affect you for a long time. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Then Night Sorrow explained the characteristics of the space-time pagoda and the reason why he had recovered. That's great. I didn't expect the space-time pagoda to have such an effect. Then you just need to cultivate slowly. Can you feel the soul doppelganger now? Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow. It's already formed, but it's only the size of a fist. Love Gon Xiao Shuat W, Chu Night Sorrow said. It's good that it's formed. Once it's formed, you can continue to nourish it according to the secret cultivation method. This is not something that can be done in a day or two. It will take time, Wu Lingfei said. Then is Aunt Fei all right? Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei and asked. It's nothing. It's just the backlash of my soul. After cultivating for 2 days, I've already recovered. Your cultivation base has already reached the peak of the 8th level of the Void Inquiry stage. You're about to advance to the next realm. It's indeed fast. Seeing Night Sorrow's cultivation base, Wu Lingfei sighed with emotion. This is all thanks to the Spacetime Pagoda. As long as I can refine it, it can provide me with an endless supply of energy. I'm only responsible for refining it. Night Sorrow was very glad that he had obtained the Spacetime Pagoda. Otherwise, not only would his cultivation speed not be so fast, he would also have to consume a large amount of resources. In the past, the Spacetime Pagoda provided energy for many people in the Qingtian region to cultivate. Now it's only for you. Of course there's no problem. You're really lucky, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. While drinking tea and chatting, Night Sorrow felt very relaxed at this moment because everything was going smoothly. You just need to focus on your cultivation. Aunt Fei will prepare a spiritual weapon for you to use for your clone. After drinking a pot of tea, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Spiritual weapon? Night Sorrow looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Yes. It takes a very long time to nourish your soul clone. This time is enough for you to advance to the venerable realm. Do you think I still need to prepare a 5th grade weapon and defensive equipment for you? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said with a smile. I still have a spiritual weapon. To be more precise, it's a mid-grade sacred treasure. However, I can't take it away and use it. That will make me seem immoral. Night Sorrow told her about the 8-dragon cauldron. Your cultivation base has indeed caught up. However, you're still an idiot in some aspects. Wu Lingfei shook her head helplessly. Then she told Night Sorrow that as long as it was a complete and not a damaged sacred treasure, even a high-level spiritual weapon would have a secondary body. Although the secondary body was very different from the main body, it still had the general functions. That means that once my soul clone is cultivated, I can bring the main body of the 8-dragon cauldron with me to protect myself? Night Sorrow asked with some joy. Yes. Of course, the secondary body doesn't have a weapon spirit. It can only be used for some normal purposes. However, it can still be used to continue cultivating the disciples of the Medicine Valley. Wu Lingfei nodded. Genuine our first Z, that's great. Yi Shan was very excited. You're indeed lucky. There are very few spiritual treasures now, but you actually have a sacred treasure. Normally, it's very difficult to use weapons and magic treasures that are of a higher level. However, it's a different matter to obtain the approval of the weapon spirit. Therefore, there's nothing to say about your luck. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow with a smile and said, when the time comes, I'll take the materials and trouble Lord K to help me forge another spear. The reincarnation spear in my hand can only be advanced. I won't replace it. Night Sorrow nodded and said, yes, you can't replace the spear in your hand because there's something special about it. The blade of the spear has the characteristic of destroying souls. After you enter the venerable realm, you should study it carefully. Wu Lingfei said. My master said that the blade of the reincarnation spear is made of reincarnation stone, so I call it the reincarnation spear. Night Sorrow said. Reincarnation stone, hee. That's a top-grade material. No wonder I feel that it has the ability to harm soul power. It makes sense that it's a reincarnation stone. Wu Lingfei glanced at the reincarnation spear on Night Sorrow's back again and said. Then Wu Lingfei talked about the Qinji Tower and the Tianfeng dynasty. The battle hadn't started yet. Seeing that the Qinji Tower was making a big move, the Tianfeng dynasty stopped a little. On the Qinji Tower's side, because the construction of the second base hadn't been completed yet, they planned to postpone the battle. The main reason was that Guizhao's injuries hadn't healed yet. Wu Lingfei's advice to Lin Yuandao was to wait a little. Guizhao was also a great fighting force. Once Guizhao recovered, the Qinji Tower's ability to deal with unexpected situations would be better. Night Sorrow drank a pot of tea and left Wu Lingfei's observation tower. At this time, Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu were about to take Ma Shizhuang and the others to the street. Since there was nothing else, Night Sorrow followed along. You three can't blame your 13th martial uncle for being strict. He's doing this for your own good. If he's strict with you now, the chances of you losing your lives in the future will be much smaller. Yang Lei said to Ma Shizhuang and the others. Ninth martial uncle, the three of us understand. We're very happy to have such an opportunity. I don't know when we can really participate in the battle. Tang Tian said. Yes, it won't take long. Night Sorrow said with a smile. At this time, on an isolated island in the sea, a purple-robed man was standing with his hands behind his back. Behind him were several black-robed men who were reporting the recent events. You said that a young man surnamed Yi appeared in the eastern Shen domain and used the space rend when he killed the venerable of the Jiyu family? The man turned around. The man was tall and sturdy. His black hair was tied up in a bun on top of his head with a jade pendant. His sword-like eyebrows slanted to his temples and his eyes flashed with a sharp light. Chapter 602. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Pay attention to this matter. The main thing to pay attention to is the situation in the Taiching region. Love go little say, Chu the purple-robed man closed his eyes and thought for a moment before speaking. There will probably be a war in the Taiching region soon. The Tianfeng dynasty is extremely arrogant and has been squeezing Tianji Tower. This time they even participated in the domain war and stood together with the Qingtian region to attack the eastern Shen region. The eastern Shen region itself is inextricably linked to Tianji Tower, a black-robed man said. Ah, the Tianfeng dynasty is not too far away from destruction. The purple-robed man sneered in a low voice. Sixth uncle, when can we fight back? I want to avenge my family. A man knelt on one knee and 2 drops of tears fell to the ground. Get up. In the Night Moon clan, there are only men who die standing. There are no cowards who live kneeling. The purple-robed man waved his hand and helped the black-robed man up. Chapter 4. Are you all very anxious? In fact, our Night Moon dynasty is not afraid of the Tianfeng dynasty, the Qingming dynasty, or the Golden Dragon King dynasty at all. However, the water is very deep because the key to victory is not the battle between venerables. Do you know how our undefeated prince was defeated? They are a group of despicable and shameless people. The purple-robed man raised his head and roared. Sixth prince, please enlighten us. Another man bowed and said. It was a saint. A saint disguised himself as a venerable to launch a sneak attack. That's why Prince Linghuan was severely injured. Our Night Moon clan also has a saint. You all continue to investigate. As for the children in the eastern Shen region who can use spatial techniques, don't forget to pay attention. That battle caused many families in our Night Moon dynasty to lose their homes. Many relatives are missing. 2 of our direct descendants are missing. Go and investigate again. After the purple-robed man finished speaking, he turned around and a spatial crack appeared in front of him. The man stepped into the spatial crack. The black-robed men watched the spatial crack close and then turned around and left the island. After accompanying Ma Zhuang and the others for a stroll on the streets, Night Sorrow returned to the backyard. Are you going to train again? Yang Lei asked Night Sorrow. Yeah, Jiyu didn't show up during the realm war. I don't know what level he is at now. If I don't cultivate, I won't be able to catch up with him. Night Sorrow sighed and said. Night Sorrow hadn't heard anything about Jiyu during this period of time, but he knew that Jiyu power would definitely soar. Jiyu was a time warrior, so the Jiyu family would definitely pay attention to him. Jiyu, why are you mentioning him? He is quite talented in the Jiyu family, but if he is not a venerable, he will not be able to defeat you, said Sikong Chuyu. You guys just don't know. He entered the Venerate realm before the realm war. It doesn't matter if he's an ordinary Venerate. His element advanced from the earth element to the time element. Yi Shang shared the information he had obtained from Lin Yuan Dao. The chances of the earth element evolving into the space element are high, but the chances of evolving into the time element are much lower. This guy actually managed to figure out the time element. Sikong Chuyu said in surprise. The time element is second only to the supreme being element. Jiyu family will definitely nurture him with all their resources. Therefore he will definitely grow fast. Therefore, I have to reach the venerable realm as soon as possible. Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu nodded. They both knew that Night Sorrow and Jiyu had a huge grudge against each other. Firstly, from Jiyu point of view, it was Night Sorrow who snatched the woman he liked, which was equivalent to slapping his face. Besides, it was Night Sorrow who led his men to destroy the ancestral temple of Jiyu family. It was impossible for him not to know about it. As for Night Sorrow's side, because of Jiyu order, the people of Jiyu family chopped off one of old Mangu's arms. This matter could not be forgotten. Don't worry. He is definitely not a match for you. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, I have confidence in myself. As long as someone stands in my way, I will definitely kill him. I don't care who he is. Night Sorrow waved his hand at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and went to the secret cultivation room. He wanted to break through to the 9th level of the Void Inquiry stage. Time attribute. Jiyu has actually comprehended the time attribute. This is not good news for us. Yang Lei said. Yes. Since he can change the flow of time, his combat power must be very strong. However, it won't affect Night Sorrow much. Let's not talk about other things. Night Sorrow has the power of desolation. Regardless of whether it's time acceleration or deceleration, it won't affect him much. Xianxia said. At this moment, in a manor outside Sky-bearing City, a man in blue robes was practicing his sword technique. If one looked carefully, they would discover that the sword light and the sword itself were flowing with undercurrents. After cultivating for a while, the man in blue robes kept his sword. However, the effect of your time deceleration is very strong. You just need to continue developing it in this direction. The time attribute is second only to the supreme attribute. It can suppress opponents at the same level as you and even those with higher cultivation bases than you. Jiufeng looked at Jiuhao and said, "Grandpa, why don't you let me fight?" Jiuhao looked at Jiufeng and asked, "Because nothing can happen to you. You have just entered the Venerable Realm. If you encounter a veteran Venerable Realm expert, you will easily be at a disadvantage. You are the future of the Jiu clan. When your cultivation base improves, will it be difficult for the Jiu clan to return to its peak?" Jiufeng looked at Jiuhao and said, "Currently, Jiuhao was the most important trump card in Jiufeng's hand. This was also the reason why Jiufeng did not allow Jiuhao to fight in this domain war. Grandpa, I can wait for other things. However, I must kill that Night Sorrow of the Eastern Profound region. If I don't kill him, I won't be able to calm down," Jiuhao said. He couldn't wait to go to the Eastern Profound region and kill Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a thorn in his throat. When xuanhuan came to the Jiu clan with Xianxia's portrait and proposed a marriage alliance, Jiuhao had fallen in love with Xianxia. However, he received news that Xianxia and Night Sorrow were living together. The Xiang clan had also agreed to this matter. He felt that this was a disgrace to him. "Don't worry. The Jiu clan will not fall. You can have any woman you want. Your foundation is too weak now. If you continue to improve, that guy won't be qualified to be your opponent. What you need to do is to become an invincible expert among venerables. Also, Grandpa won't hide it from you. The Jiu clan has Saint crystals with the time and space attributes. As long as you have a smooth journey, you will have no problem entering the Saint realm. Grandpa, I will work hard." Jiuhao nodded. "As long as you work hard." Grandpa was tricked by the space-time pagoda at the most critical moment. Otherwise, Grandpa would have had the chance to enter the Saint realm with the space attribute. "I can't accept this, I can't accept this." Jiu Fenglan's eyes were filled with hatred. Even if he had 5 more days to complete the conversion, there was still a problem. If you asked who hated Yishang the most, it would be Jiu Fenglan. Chapter 603. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Only $Ijing, edition %, every 8 others X is 1, Pirate, J edition 5. It's very difficult. The chances are slim. Although his comprehension is still there, it takes too much space energy to convert Earth element Jinqi into space element Jinqi. Our family has some space crystals, but the quantity is too low. We can only convert 1/3 of it, which is meaningless. In addition, grandfather's life source and meridians have been severely damaged. It will be even more difficult for him to recover. Jiu Fenglan sighed and said, "Can't we think of a way?" Jiuhao frowned and said, "Our family has exchanged for treasures that can replenish life source, but they are prepared for the Great Elder. We don't have any extra for grandfather." Jiu Fenglan sighed and said, "They did get some treasures, but they were prepared for Jiuhai. He was helpless about it. The Great Elder's element is ordinary. Even a saint can't defeat him. He has no future. It's better to put all the resources on grandfather." Jiuhao's eyes flashed. Some things are better left unsaid. Grandfather has sent people to do missions again. Tianji Tower's foundation is deeper than our family's. They have more treasures. It's up to fate. The Golden Phoenix is grandfather's nemesis. We can't do anything about it. Jiu Fenglan said. "You're not bad. I can help you, but there's a condition." At this time, a silver-haired woman appeared in the manor. Jiu and Fenglan greet senior. Jiu Fenglan pulled Jiuhao and bowed to the woman. He couldn't see her cultivation level, but he knew that she was a saint, and not a beginner saint. No need for formalities. The Qingtian domain belongs to the people of the Qingtian domain. Your family's grand elder doesn't have much potential. So what if he recovers? Even if he recovers, he won't be a match for him. The silver-haired woman was tall and slender. Her phoenix eyes were filled with mesmerizing whirlpools. "I have no choice. My Tao foundation is destroyed. I can only ask the grand elder of my family to restore it," said Ji Yufeng. Your temperament is still lacking. Don't place your fate on others. I can help you recover your Tao foundation and even provide you with some space crystals. However, you have to promise me one thing. Don't start any civil war in the Qingtian region. The silver-haired woman looked at Jiu Fenglan and said, Junior will keep it in mind. Hearing the silver-haired woman's words, Jiu Fenglan bowed and said, This is a water spirit fruit. It can nourish and heal your damaged meridians. These space crystals, together with the ones stored in your family, should be enough for you to finish the upgrade. The rest is up to you. The silver-haired woman took out some resources and threw them in front of Jiu and Fenglan. Thank you, senior. Jiu Fenglan's lifeless eyes lit up again. Time attribute very good. The future of the Qingtian region depends on you youngsters. I still have a few time crystals here. You can have them. The white-robed woman waved her hand again and threw a few time crystals to Jiu Hao. Jiu Hao also bowed to express his gratitude. He knew that his opportunity had come. Also, I have something to tell you. Jiu family is not the only family with saints. Therefore, you have to think carefully before you do anything. Saints are not allowed to participate in the war. This was set by the saints of the 9 regions many years ago. Of course, new saints are not aware of this. Also, the Eastern Shen region cannot be bullied. You must not invade the Eastern Shen region. The consequences will be severe. Senior, can you leave your name? Jiu Fenglan will remember it. Jiu Fenglan cupped his hands towards the silver-haired woman. I am Inshi. Remember, even if there is a war with the Eastern Shen region, it must be carried out in the Taiwei region. Saints are not allowed to enter the Eastern Shen region. Inshi said and left the manor. Looking at the resources in front of him, Jiu Fenglan laughed and said, The heavens have not let me down. Golden Phoenix, our enmity is not over. Congratulations, Grandpa. Jiu Hao bowed. There needs to be a change in the plan. I can't provide the life spiritual liquid to the Supreme Elder. You can cultivate by yourself. Grandpa needs to find a safe place to cultivate in seclusion. A place where even the Supreme Elder can't find. No one can stop Grandpa from rising. After saying a few words to Jiu Fenglan, he left the manor. Jiu Fenglan, who now had hope, emerged once again. Jiu Hao looked at the few time crystals in front of him and clenched his fists. He felt that he was not far away from fulfilling his ambition. Since the saints are not participating in the war, I can increase my cultivation base and kill my way into the Eastern Shen region. It won't be a problem for me to go there and kill Night Sorrow. However, he planned to go to the Taiqing region first because the Tianji Tower and the Tianfeng dynasty were confronting each other. After a few days, Night Sorrow finally came out from the secret cultivation room. You succeeded. Seeing Night Sorrow come out from the secret cultivation room, Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow happily. Yes. I'm at the peak of the void inquiry stage now. Night Sorrow nodded. After drinking a cup of tea with the 2 ladies, Night Sorrow told them about his plan. He planned to go to the Night Moon Sky to see the old site of the Night Moon dynasty. The 2 ladies nodded. They knew that this was Night Sorrow's worry. Night Sorrow was about to advance to the Venerable Realm. The state of mind was very important. Night Sorrow wanted to go to the Night Moon Sky to have a look. This was his worry. After that, Night Sorrow went to greet Wu Ling Fei and told her that he wanted to go to the Night Moon Sky. Aunt Fei is indeed worried. However, I won't stop you if you want to go. When a bird grows up, it will have to fly alone. Be careful at all times. Also, keep your Void Dao Stone away before you fight. You must not be attacked or collided with. Wu Ling Fei reminded Night Sorrow. Wu Ling Fei was worried about Yishang, but she thought about it. Yishang had to walk his own path. He couldn't be protected all the time. Besides, she felt that it was impossible for a primary saint to kill Yishang. A high-level saint wouldn't be so bored. Besides, Yishang was only going to take a look at Yi Yuetian, not to fight. As long as he wasn't targeted, he would be fine. Night Sorrow went to the god-slaying squad and gave them some instructions. Then he left the Qingxian courtyard on Tianyu and went to the strategic teleportation formation. They directly teleported to the underground Great Hall of the Heaven Fate Pavilion. Lord Heaven Fate Emissary is here. Are you going to the Dark Tower? Heavenly Star asked when he saw Night Sorrow take off his mask. No, I want to go to the Taiqing region. Can I teleport here? Night Sorrow asked. Heavenly Star nodded at Night Sorrow. Yes. Do you want to go now, Emissary? The Taiqing region is quite chaotic now. Some of the people from the Qingtian region's City Lord Mansion are also there. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to take a look and increase my field of vision, Night Sorrow said. Alright, I'll help you teleport. Heavenly Star nodded and helped Night Sorrow start the teleportation. The two regions with the most developed teleportation formations in the Tianji Tower were the Taiqing region and the Eastern Xian region. After helping Night Sorrow teleport, Heavenly Star entered the Dark Tower and told the higher-ups of the Tianji Tower about this matter. After taking two teleportation formations, Night Sorrow arrived at the most prosperous city in the Taiqing region, Taiqing City. Chapter 604. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. However, Night Sorrow didn't know that he was seen by a disciple of Jianghu's family as soon as he stepped out of the teleportation array. This disciple of Jianghu's family was a lucky survivor of the battle at Ji Royal City. This time he was sent by Jianghu's family to join forces with Tianfeng dynasty in Taiqing domain. He saw Night Sorrow order the city lord's mansion to be burned down. When he saw Night Sorrow, he immediately went to Jianghu's family stronghold in Taiqing domain and told the manager what he knew. Are you sure he's the leader of the group that destroyed Ji Royal City? Jianghu, who happened to arrive at Taiqing domain, stood up and asked. I can't be wrong, but I don't know his name, said the disciple. Brother Feng, let's go. Since he dares to come to Taiqing domain, we must kill him. We can't give him a chance to go back, said Jianghu as he stood up. Jianghu stood up and said. The man standing beside him was Ji Feng. He was the one who brought people to Bamboo Garden Village and cut off Mr. Gu's arm. Brother Hao, we're venerables. If we kill him, who's not a venerables, Tianji Tower might be in big trouble. Ji Feng was a little worried. He had just entered the venerables realm and came to Taiqing domain to relax. He didn't have any other intentions. Love go little, say wuxiu, do it secretly. Who will know it's us? Don't forget he might have the Shantian Tower. If we take it back to our family, it'll be the greatest contribution, said Jianghu. Hearing Jianghu's words, Ji Feng's face lit up and he nodded. The Shantian Tower was the most precious treasure of Qingtian domain. If they took it back to Jianghu's family, it would be a great contribution. After arriving at Taiqing domain, Night Sorrow's heart calmed down. This used to be the territory of Night Moon dynasty. His family used to live in this area. He wanted to carefully feel it. Night Sorrow went to a tea house and asked for a pot of tea. He found a seat by the window and sat down, looking at the map of the 9 domains and 18 prefectures. The Night Moon dynasty originally occupied a large area of the Grand Clarity domain, and the clan's core was the Night Moon Sky. Night Moon Sky was an island in the middle of the lake in the Night Moon City. It was also the true core area of the Night Moon Empire. Night Moon City was relatively far away from Taiqing City, nearly 2 million miles away. There used to be a teleportation array, but since the Night Moon City was destroyed by the various dynasties, the teleportation array naturally no longer existed. Brother, may I have a seat? A man with blonde hair came to Night Sorrow's table. He touched his chest with his left hand and nodded at Night Sorrow. Sit. After sizing up the man, Night Sorrow nodded and pointed to the tea house opposite him. At this time, the business in the tea house was relatively good and there were no more seats. The blonde man looked at Night Sorrow and said, I like the light mist tea here. Every time I come to Taiqing City, I'll ask for a pot. This is also my favorite spot. Sorry I took your seat. Night Sorrow's gaze moved from the map to the blonde man. The blonde man was very handsome and had a very bright aura. He had a very clean and pure smile on his face. What was strange was that he had 2 curved blades at his waist. Although this man looked harmless, Night Sorrow knew that this guy was definitely not a simple character. The curved blades at his waist were definitely powerful weapons. The blonde man noticed that Night Sorrow was looking at his curved blades, so he patted the hilt and said, Don't look at that. It's for enemies. In front of friends, it's a work of art. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this person was like him. If he didn't put his weapon in his storage ring, it was to cultivate compatibility. Could even be said that he believed in his weapon. His weapon was his companion. This is the light mist tea. Today I'll treat you to it. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for the blonde man. Only 8 original A, the others were all F. Stolen tea edition. The blonde man Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and asked, My name is Xuanhuan. May I ask for your name? Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Xuanhuan and said his name. Night Sorrow. I think I've heard of this name before. It's a little familiar. Xuanhuan rubbed his slightly messy blonde hair and said. Night Sorrow just smiled. He didn't think that someone would be familiar with his name. Looking at the map. Does this mean that you don't know much about Taiqing City? It doesn't matter. Let's not talk about other places, but I know all the big and small places in Taiqing City. Although I haven't walked around much, you can ask me if you want to know anything. Xuanhuan said while drinking tea. To be honest, Brother Yun, this is my first time in Taiching City. Night Sorrow said. He felt that Xuanhuan was easier to get along with, so he spoke more casually. Alright, where do you want to go? I'll take you there. I've been free recently, so I came out to relax. Xuanhuan said. Is that appropriate? Night Sorrow didn't expect Xuanhuan to say that. It can't be more appropriate. Where do you want to go? We'll leave after drinking tea. Xuanhuan took a sip of tea and said. I want to go to Night Moon Sky. Night Sorrow said. As he spoke, his eyes were fixed on Xuanhuan. He mainly wanted to see the changes in Xuanhuan's expression. Night Moon Sky. That was once the holy land of our Taiching City. However, it was destroyed by a group of dogs and chickens through treacherous means. I also yearn for it. This time, I'll accompany you and burn incense for the Night Moon Dynasty seniors who established the Taiching City's fame. Xuanhuan exhaled and said. You're not hostile to the Night Moon Dynasty. You're surnamed Yun. You're from the Yun Dynasty? Night Sorrow guessed Xuanhuan's identity. Yes, I'm from the Yun Dynasty. I Xuanhuan am known as the Little Demon King. Xuanhuan grinned at Night Sorrow with his snow-white teeth. Originally, I planned to stay for a few days before going. Since Brother Yun also wants to go, we'll leave after drinking tea. I'm not familiar with the roads, so we'll go wherever you want us to go. Night Sorrow said. Then Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan left the inn and went directly to the teleportation array. Then, under Xuanhuan's command, the two teleported to the Golden Dragon King Dynasty's Golden Dragon City. Then they teleported again and arrived at the border city of the Golden Dragon King Dynasty, Dragon Tail City. They're still close to 1,000,000 miles. However, we can't teleport anymore. We can only travel on flying monsters. Xuanhuan said. There aren't any cities with teleportation arrays within 1,000,000 miles? Night Sorrow asked in astonishment. There aren't any. Back then, several dynasties joined forces to defeat the Night Moon Dynasty. The Night Moon Dynasty's territory was also divided. However, so what if they divided the territory? Who dares to construct the cities they conquered? No dynasty dares to do that. Although the Night Moon Dynasty was defeated, they're still alive. Who knows when they'll fight back? Xuanhuan explained the reason for the current situation. So you're saying that the other dynasties are afraid of working for others? They're afraid that the Night Moon Dynasty will fight back? They're afraid that the areas they invested in will be taken back and all their efforts will be for naught? Night Sorrow understood the crux of the matter. Chapter 605. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. I still have some power left, Night Sorrow said as he let out a sigh. Your surname is Yi. Are you a descendant of Night Moon? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow seriously. Is that important? Night Sorrow looked at Xuanhuan and asked. Permanent G exempt F Feezy look little, say 9-inch. It's not important, but I still hope that you are. Night Moon Dynasty's members are the most courageous group of people. Back then they were the #1 domain in the Taiching domain. What about now? Tianfeng Dynasty, Golden Dragon King Dynasty, they are all scum. Internal wars are fine, but external wars are trash, Xuanhuan said. I have a mount. Do you? Night Sorrow looked at Xuanhuan. I really don't have one. But don't worry, we are out of the city. We can just grab one, Xuanhuan said embarrassedly. You're going to catch them as you please? Yishan looked at Xuanhuan in surprise. Let's go. You'll know in a moment. After Xuanhuan finished speaking, he called for a beast carriage and called for Yishan to enter. My mount is rank 5. You can grab one, but can it keep up? Night Sorrow looked at Xuanhuan puzzled. After leaving the city, Xuanhuan waved his arm and a shadow appeared. The shadow roared and disappeared. A moment later, a rank 2 gray wolf flew in front of Xuanhuan. F***CK, can't you catch a better looking one? Xuanhuan reached out and slapped Gray Wolf's head, then scolded. Night Sorrow was puzzled because everything in front of him was too strange. A rank 2 Gray Wolf could fly. No one would believe it. What Night Sorrow couldn't understand was that the Gray Wolf was full of oppressive death energy. Let's go. Let's talk as we go. Xuanhuan's body flashed and landed on the Gray Wolf's back. He directly rode on the Gray Wolf's back. His legs were dangling, almost touching the ground. Once Xuanhuan sat down, the Gray Wolf immediately rose into the air and flew forward at an extremely fast speed. Night Sorrow released Tianyu and chased after Xuanhuan, who was riding the Gray Wolf. Look at his mount. Next time I'll F***king catch a better looking one. Xuanhuan slapped Gray Wolf's head again, then looked at Night Sorrow in embarrassment. This thing doesn't know any better, it always embarrasses me. Yishang shook his head, unable to understand. Then Xuanhuan told him about his treasure, the ghost wolf with the death attribute. It was a soul beast that Xuanhuan had captured in the land of demons. It was currently at the mid-stage of stage 5 and was proficient in soul attacks. It was also proficient in control. Currently it was controlling the stage 2 Grey Wolf. So strong. Night Sorrow looked at the Grey Wolf that Xuanhuan was sitting on and asked in surprise. Of course. That's why it casually caught a stage 5 mount. Actually, it's just a carrier for me to sit comfortably on. However, its worldview is very disgusting. It thinks that wolves are mighty. If I ask it to catch a demonic beast as a mount, it will definitely catch a wolf. Xuanhuan said and slapped the Grey Wolf again. Fast. The Grey Wolf that the Ghost Wolf controlled was very fast. Although it couldn't be compared to Xianyu, it was just a little bit slower. Then how long can this Grey Wolf last? Night Sorrow asked as he sat on Xianyu's back. This has nothing to do with the Grey Wolf itself. Right now the Ghost Wolf is using its own energy to fly. If you don't want to destroy this Grey Wolf, you can just let it go. This Grey Wolf will be as good as sleeping and nothing will happen to it. We've ridden it for so long, why can't we kill it? Xuanhuan rode the Grey Wolf and flew beside Xianyu, who had slowed down. It was as if he was riding a horse. Then what's the highest level of demonic beast that the Ghost Wolf can control? Night Sorrow asked. Demonic beasts below stage 5 are not a problem. Demonic beasts above stage 5 will depend on the strength of the soul. If you encounter a beast with a high soul strength, the most you can do is wipe out its soul. It won't be able to control it. Xuanhuan said. Thank you for coming with me. I don't have much to thank you for. This is a stage 4 silver-winged eagle. Try it and see how it works. Night Sorrow threw a beast-taming crystal to Xuanhuan. Then let's go down and study it. Xuanhuan didn't argue. After receiving the beast-taming crystal, he controlled the Ghost Wolf to land. Night Sorrow controlled Xianyu to land as well. Xuanhuan then communicated with the beast-taming crystal and made the silver-winged eagle recognize him as its master. A stage 4, stage 6 silver-winged eagle. Night Sorrow, you're awesome. This thing is useful to me. I can control both the silver-winged eagle and the Ghost Wolf. Normally I can let the silver-winged eagle fly by itself. When I need speed, I can let the Ghost Wolf wrap around the silver-winged eagle and fly. As long as the eagle doesn't resist, it's cool and comfortable to sit on. Xuanhuan liked the silver-winged eagle very much. After the silver-winged eagle recognized him as its master, he gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. After that, the two of them continued flying. However, Night Sorrow was still accommodating Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan was controlling the silver-winged eagle and the Ghost Wolf to work together. He couldn't let the Ghost Wolf hurt the silver-winged eagle. After all, the silver-winged eagle wasn't a demonic beast that would give up after using it once. Night Sorrow didn't know that not long after they left the Taiqing region, Jianghu and Jiyufeng had bribed the guards of the teleporting formation and asked them where Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan were teleporting to. After that, they chased them from the Golden Dragon City to the Dragontail City. When they arrived at the Dragontail City, Jianghu easily asked the guards about Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan's whereabouts. Jianghu took out a map and glanced at it, then nodded and said, Night Sorrow, his surname is Yi. His target might be the Night Moon City. Let's go. This time they will die for sure. Jianghu and Jiyufeng were both venerables. They were much faster than Xianyu and the Ghost Wolf. They directly chased after Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan. Brother, I have to go back to work after accompanying you for a while. I really don't like it, but I have no choice. Sitting on the silver-winged eagle's back, Xuanhuan took out 2 jars of wine and threw one to Night Sorrow. What? Is there something you don't want to do? Night Sorrow opened the jar and asked. Yes, there are some things that I won't hide from you. Tianji Tower thinks highly of me and gave me a stupid position. I don't like it very much, but my old man said that if I dared to refuse, he would break my legs. You know, my old man has never spoken loudly to me since I was a child. Even if my old man yelled at me, my old man would stand up for me. So this time there is no room for discussion. Xuanhuan sighed and said, Since you said so, I'll tell you that I'm also a member of Tianji Tower. However, I still have a lot of freedom. As long as I don't betray Tianji Tower, I can do whatever I want. Night Sorrow said, You're also a member of Tianji Tower? That's good. But let me tell you, you have to work hard. My status is not low. If we can't play together in the future, it will be boring. Xuanhuan said, We're friends, we're brothers. No matter what, we'll play together. Night Sorrow said. When he said this, Night Sorrow turned around because he found that someone was chasing after him. Xuanhuan, hurry up and leave. These two are not friendly. Night Sorrow reminded Xuanhuan. Chapter 606. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What are you talking about? Am I, Xuanhuan, the kind of person who would abandon his friends and run away? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow with dissatisfaction, then looked at the two people chasing after him. After noticing their cultivation bases, Xuanhuan's expression turned solemn. He was a peak void inquiry stage expert. Naturally, he could also see Jianghu and Jiyufeng's cultivation bases. At that moment, Jianghu and Jiyufeng flew over them as well, blocking their way. Night Sorrow's body flashed and left Tianyu's back. Tianyu's speed was fast, but he still couldn't surpass the Venerable One. At this time he could only fight. Xuanhuan also kept the silver-winged eagle and stood beside Night Sorrow. Behind him there was a dark energy roaring. It was the ghost wolf. Tell me your name. Night Sorrow extended his right hand and grabbed the reincarnation spear. At the same time he kept the void Dao stone into the spacetime treasure pagoda. You should know my name, but when you see me your life will come to an end. I am Jianghu. Jianghu waved the long sword in his hand and said, I've been to the eastern Shen domain and the Medicine Valley, but I didn't find you. My name is Jiyufeng. Jiyufeng also took out his long sword. Both of you are here, very good. Jiyufeng, you and your people burned down Xuanhuan town in Medicine Valley, didn't you? You even chopped off the arm of an old man with no cultivation base. Night Sorrow's murderous aura rippled. Love Gon little sake if Night Sorrow had a deep grudge with anyone, it would be the two people in front of him. One was the culprit and the other was the executor. That's right. This time, I'm not just going to cut off your arm, I'm going to kill you, said Jiyufeng coldly. Xuanhuan stepped back. This has nothing to do with you. Night Sorrow waved his hand at Xuanhuan. He did not want to drag Xuanhuan down with him. Today both of you will die. Jianghu waved his long sword and said, Brother, look. But they want to kill me as well. There's no other way. Let's fight. Xuanhuan waved his hands and a pair of scimitars appeared. Then you will die. Jianghu snorted coldly and rushed towards Yishan. I just can't stand people like you. Before Yishan could do anything, Xuanhuan charged out. Xuanhuan, who had rushed out, looked completely different. The sense of power coming from his body was no longer bright and handsome, but fierce and aggressive. The defensive power shield around his body was dark purple in color, with thunderbolts surging out from it, shaking off Jianghu's space restraint. Seeing Xuanhuan stop Jianghu, Night Sorrow dashed towards Jiyufeng. Two peak void inquiry stage cultivators against two venerables. They could only pick the weaker one first to have a chance. Therefore Night Sorrow chose to attack Jiyufeng. Night Sorrow did not dare to delay any longer. He directly activated his void attribute and launched the 7-star brilliant moon spear at Jiyufeng. Jiyufeng wielded his long sword and slashed at Yishan. Yishang's peak void inquiry stage cultivation base was nothing to him. However, when their weapons were about to collide against each other, the situation changed. The sword chi released from Jiyufeng's long sword was directly pushed aside by Yishang's spear light. This was the power of the void nature Jin Qi. Love go go shao shua 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 w. Ai Chuex. Their weapons clashed. Jiyufeng was knocked back by Night Sorrow's 7-star brilliant moon spear. After that, Night Sorrow continued to dash forward. He wanted to defeat Jiyufeng as soon as possible because he was worried that Xuanhuan might not be able to withstand his attacks. As a matter of fact, Xuanhuan couldn't hold on any longer. Jiyu's cultivation was 3 levels higher than his, and he was also a venerable. Xuanhuan was directly suppressed by Jiyu. Fortunately, Xuanhuan's protective air shield was filled with lightning, which could break through the venerable's space restraint. Otherwise he would have been killed immediately. Moreover, the spirit wolf was constantly attacking Jiyu, which bought him time to dodge. Night Sorrow kept attacking with his spear, suppressing Jiyufeng and forcing him to retreat. Then he observed Xuanhuan and found that he could not hold on any longer. Feeling anxious, he directly activated his innate bloodline power and launched the space crack at Jiyufeng. The energy of the space crack cut through the space and headed towards Jiyufeng. Seeing that the situation was not good, Jiyufeng immediately swung his sword to block the attack. Crack. Along with a crisp sound, Jiyufeng's long sword was broken by the energy of the space crack. However, Jiyufeng also got a chance to breathe. Although he was not directly hit by the space crack, a piece of flesh was cut off from his shoulder. After being injured by Night Sorrow, Jiyufeng couldn't care less about his face and directly yelled, "Brother Hao, come help me. I can't hold on any longer." Moi YXN 9, Section Super seeing that Ji Yufeng was injured, Ji Yuhao's body flashed and landed beside Night Sorrow. He swung his long sword towards Night Sorrow. Fast. Too fast. Night Sorrow could only swing his spear to block the attack. However, he was still one step too late. The reincarnation spear blocked Ji Yuhao's long sword, but the sword light pierced through his ribs and left a wound on his ribs. Night Sorrow took a few steps back and stood in front of Xuanhuan. He pointed the reincarnation spear to his side and stared at Ji Yuhao. Yishang was shocked. His myriad Dao scripture had been broken by Ji Yuhao. Ji Yuhao was also shocked that his time sword chi didn't cut Night Sorrow in half. Time property? Xuanhuan took a step forward and stood beside Night Sorrow. That's right. You two have seen my time sword skill, so both of you have to die. Ji Yuhao glanced at Ji Yufeng and said, Time acceleration. Night Sorrow murmured. He now understood why Ji Yuhao was so fast just now. It was because of the time property. Also, Ji Yuhao was a Zun cultivator. His soul and Jin Qi had merged with the surroundings. Therefore his speed was extremely fast. That's right. It's the time property. Your speed is no different from a snail in front of me. Ji Yuhao had a cold smile on his face. Yishang and Xuanhuan were nothing but playthings in front of him with the power of time. You shameless bastard. You didn't even look at me just now. Xuanhuan was angry because Ji Yuhao looked down on him. Don't worry. The time property is not invincible. It won't be that easy to kill me. Come on. Night Sorrow let out a breath. A faint purple void property protective shield appeared, and the power of Desolates was running at full speed inside his body. Seeing Ji Yuhao's time sword skill, Night Sorrow became cautious. He knew that if it weren't for the fact that his body was strengthened by the power of Desolates, which counteracted most of the power of the time sword chi, he would have been cut in half. What's the point? In terms of cultivation, I am a Zun cultivator and you are an ant. In terms of property, I am the time property and you are trash. What makes you think you can fight with me for a woman? You must die today. Ji Yuhao gnashed his teeth and said, Don't talk nonsense. We don't know who will win yet. Xuanhuan, protect yourself. Yishang took a deep breath and rushed towards Ji Yuhao. Ji Yuhao waved his time sword skill and slashed towards Night Sorrow again. The time property sword chi was too fast. Fortunately, it slowed down a lot when it came within 10 feet of Night Sorrow. That was the area where Night Sorrow's void property Jin Qi could affect. Chapter 607. Geniuses Remember Love in 1 Second? This is a wonderful novel for you to read. Night Sorrow's spear light was fierce and violent, but it couldn't reach Ji Yuhao, because Ji Yuhao was way too fast. Similarly, Ji Yuhao's attack couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow either. When his sword chi reached near Night Sorrow's body, it returned to its normal speed. This was a stalemate. Night Sorrow couldn't hurt Ji Yuhao, but Ji Yuhao couldn't suppress Night Sorrow either. This was the power of the void power. No matter what kind of power you had, as long as you were in the area affected by the void power, all your power would be nullified. #fast. Go. Ji Yuhao was shocked. He didn't think that his time sword chi would lose its advantage when it reached Night Sorrow. In fact, he knew that what he had learned was not time acceleration but time deceleration. As long as he was in the area affected by the void power, the flow of time would be slowed down. That was why his speed was so fast. Yishang could only hold on, but he couldn't change the situation. Since he couldn't kill Ji Yuhao, Yishang decided to kill Ji Yufeng first. As long as he could kill as many as he could. At the moment, Ji Yufeng and Xuanhuan were still fighting. Ji Yufeng was one level higher than Xuanhuan, but he didn't have any advantage at all. Xuanhuang's defensive power shield was covered with lightning snakes. He ignored Ji Yufeng's unique space restriction and hacked his pair of machetes around Ji Yufeng, which made Ji Yufeng quite embarrassed. After dodging Ji Yuhao's sword chi, Night Sorrow shouted at Xuanhuan and told him to step back. Next he activated his bloodline power and sent a space crack towards Ji Yufeng. After that, he dashed forward and activated his nature and man being one with the world, to suppress Ji Yufeng. Then he performed the 7-star glorious moon spear art, aiming at Ji Yufeng. Xuanhuan of course knew what Night Sorrow meant. He stepped back and changed his target. He threw out 2 blade lights that were wrapped in lightning towards Ji Yuhao while commanding his spirit wolf to stop Ji Yuhao. Ji Yufeng was already scared when he saw Night Sorrow cast the space crack. He tried to dodge but was still affected by Night Sorrow's space restraint. Therefore he couldn't completely dodge and could only wield the broken sword to defend himself. Ji Yufeng was a cultivator, but he had just stepped into the stage. Therefore he wasn't much stronger than Night Sorrow. How could he possibly defend himself against Night Sorrow's space-cracking attack? Another section of the broken sword was cut off, and the protective shield was cut open. Ji Yufeng's face changed dramatically, and he hurriedly leaned his body to dodge. His upper body managed to dodge the attack, but one of his legs was cut off by Night Sorrow's space crack. After severely injuring Ji Yufeng with one move, Night Sorrow was now very close to Ji Yufeng. The reincarnation spear darted towards Ji Yufeng's throat along with an unstoppable momentum. "You're courting death." Ji Yuhao's body flashed a few times in a row, dodging Xuanhuan and the Hell Wolf's attacks. While approaching Night Sorrow, he also wielded his arm and sent out a stream of sword chi towards Night Sorrow. Sensing the sword chi slicing through the air, Night Sorrow pondered and made a decision. If he dodged, he would lose the chance to kill Ji Yufeng. If he didn't, he might be injured. Ji Yufeng's space and time sword chi was released with all of his power. Even if Night Sorrow defended himself with all of his power, it would still be hard for him to block it. The other option was to use the time and space tower to defend himself, but the tower would be exposed. Within a split second, Night Sorrow made up his mind. He would take the attack head-on. Night Sorrow boosted his defensive shield with the power of nothingness to the maximum, and covered his back with the power of desolation. Boom. With a single move, Night Sorrow shattered the remaining half of Ji Yufeng's short sword, sending Ji Yufeng flying backward while vomiting blood. However, Ji Yuhao's sword chi had also broken Night Sorrow's defensive shield, and once again sliced towards Night Sorrow's back. With the power of desolation, this sword chi didn't cause much damage to Night Sorrow's body. However, it still left a deep wound on Night Sorrow's back. "Take care of him for me." Night Sorrow turned around and yelled at Xuanhuan. Meanwhile, he sent out a space crack towards Ji Yuhao. After the space crack was sent out, Night Sorrow immediately launched a soul-destroying cut. At the moment, Night Sorrow was fighting with all of his power. As long as he could hold his ground, he would be able to take advantage of Ji Yufeng. He knew that Ji Yufeng, who was badly injured, would not be able to stop Xuanhuan. After Night Sorrow sent out the space crack, the space was cut open, and the energy of the space crack reached Ji Yuhao within a blink of an eye. Ji Yuhao's expression changed as he hurriedly stepped back. His time deceleration didn't have much effect on Night Sorrow's space crack. While stepping back, Ji Yuhao sent out a few sword chi streams in a row to neutralize the space crack. Right after he neutralized Night Sorrow's space crack, Ji Yuhao suddenly dodged sideways, because he sensed the soul-destroying cut. Ji Yuhao's continuous stepping back gave Night Sorrow a chance to hold his ground. Night Sorrow controlled the power inside his body to seal the wound and stop the blood from flowing out. At the same time, Xuanhuan also made some progress. With the help of the spirit wolf, Xuanhuan took care of Ji Yufeng, who was badly injured, in just a short while. Xuanhuan held Ji Yufeng's collar with his left hand, and put the machete against his neck with his right hand. He walked up to Night Sorrow and said, "This guy is here. What should we do?" Night Sorrow reached out his left hand and grabbed Ji Yufeng, bringing him to his front. "Let him go or you'll both die." Ji Yuhao looked at Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan with a dark face. "Forget about it. It's not the first time you said that. If bragging could kill people, we wouldn't be standing here." Xuanhuan yelled back. Night Sorrow raised the reincarnation spear with his right hand and cut off Ji Yufeng's finger, which was wearing a storage ring. He then threw the ring to Xuanhuan. "Stop." Ji Yuhao yelled out. "Shut up." Night Sorrow raised his head and threw a glare at Ji Yuhao, then grabbed Ji Yufeng and put him in front of himself. "You better let me go or the Ji Yu family won't let you go." Ji Yufeng's face was pale as he looked at Night Sorrow with his teeth clenched. "I don't expect the Ji Yu family to let me go, and I'm not going to let the Ji Yu family go. When you burned down the town, did you think about today? When you cut off my father's arm, did you think about today?" After asking a few questions, Night Sorrow swung the reincarnation spear and cut off Ji Yufeng's neck. Next, he wielded the reincarnation spear and chopped off Ji Yufeng's head, body, and soul. "Are you really going to kill him?" Xuanhuan paused for a second. He thought Night Sorrow would try to negotiate, but now he directly chopped off Ji Yufeng's head. "Why not? We weren't scared when there were only two of them. Now that there's only one left, why should we be scared of him?" Night Sorrow glanced at Ji Yufeng's body, which was falling from the sky, then waved the reincarnation spear and looked at Ji Yuhao again. "You have to die." Ji Yuhao's face turned pale. Ji Yufeng was his cousin, but now he died in front of him. "Xuanhuan, protect yourself. Today I'd like to see how he's going to kill me." Night Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear and said, "Alright, it'll be hard for him to kill me." Xuanhuan waved his arm and the ghost wolf appeared beside him. Chapter 608. Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second / Small? This is a wonderful novel for you to read. Come on. Jianghu, your cultivation is high and your nature is strong. Let's see how you can kill me. When Night Sorrow checked his wounds, he found that there was a special kind of energy inside his body that was helping him heal. Night Sorrow knew that it was the power of the spirit medicine. Jianghu roared and rushed towards Night Sorrow again. Night Sorrow activated his void nature defensive energy shield and started to fight with Jianghu in the air. Jianghu was fast and most of Night Sorrow's attacks missed. However, he couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. Seeing that he couldn't do anything to Jianghu, Night Sorrow started to defend himself. This way he wouldn't consume as much energy, but he would occasionally use the space crack and the soul slash. Night Sorrow's space crack and the soul slash still posed a great threat to Jianghu, because the time nature didn't affect the space energy too much, and so did the soul slash. However, because of the time nature, Jianghu could dodge in advance. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow's cultivation was not as high as Jianghu's. Jianghu could control a large area so he could prepare in advance. Consume? I will consume you to death. Jianghu said through gritted teeth. Come on. Night Sorrow didn't care about Jianghu's threat at all. He wasn't afraid of a battle of attrition. The two fought in the air for half an hour, and Night Sorrow had consumed a lot of energy. Night Sorrow, come down. I'll fight with him. Seeing that Night Sorrow was exhausted, Xuanhuan shouted. He was worried that Night Sorrow couldn't handle it. No need. Let's see who consumes who. Night Sorrow decisively switched his energy source, using the power of the Myriad Tao Bible and his own physical strength to fight with Jianghu. However, because Night Sorrow's cultivation base was not as powerful as his xianxia, he was immediately suppressed by Jianghu. However, Jianghu was still unable to defeat Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow would use his xianxia to fight, as well as the space crack and the soul destruction cut. However, in the middle of the transition, Night Sorrow's left rib was struck by a sword qi. However, with the protection of the void attribute qi, the injury wasn't serious. After fighting for a while, the two of them were almost exhausted. Let's see how long you can last. Jianghu shouted with a twisted face. Take as long as you want. I still have some spirit spring spirit liquid and spiritual essence liquid. Night Sorrow took out a drop of spiritual essence liquid and swallowed it. Then, under Jianghu's shocked gaze, Night Sorrow quickly returned to his peak condition. Night Sorrow, who had recovered to his peak state, started attacking Jianghu. Next time I see you, I will kill you. Jianghu dodged a few spear lights from Night Sorrow and flashed away. Remember, this is not the end between us. Yishang looked at Jianghu's back and shouted. He didn't chase after him because it was useless. Jianghu's cultivation base was much faster than his and Tianyu's, and he also had the power of time. It was impossible to catch up with him. Good dog. Don't run if you have balls. Xuanhuan shouted. Night Sorrow looked at Jianghu and didn't say anything. He knew that Jianghu was a strong opponent. Night Sorrow, are you okay? Xuanhuan came to Night Sorrow and asked. Just some superficial wounds, but we still won. Night Sorrow glanced at Jianghu's body and said. Good for you. You can even take that. But this guy's time attribute is crazy. In fact, his time attribute is not time acceleration but time deceleration. As long as our attacks get close to him, they will be slowed down by his time attribute. He can handle it with ease. Xuanhuan was shocked. If he were in Jianghu's shoes, he would never be able to withstand Jianghu's attacks. He would be killed in a short while. Good, it's just some superficial wounds. Don't worry. Night Sorrow took off his torn robe and put on a clean one. What kind of body is this? Your wounds have already scabbed over? Noticing Night Sorrow's back and ribs, Xuanhuan couldn't believe his own eyes. My body is strong, but it's just the surface. His sword qi is still destroying my body. I need to take care of it. Next, I'll let Tianyu fly with the silver-winged eagle. Night Sorrow let Tianyu out and said. After that, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan continued their journey. Sitting cross-legged on Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow began to heal his wounds. Since the power of desolates came from the same source as the time attribute, Night Sorrow began to use the power of desolates to refine the energy left in Jianghu's body. After flying for a day, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan set up camp. Night Sorrow roasted the deer that Tianyu had hunted. Are you okay? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I'm fine, but I still need some time to fully recover. The time attribute sword qi is really strong. If I can't suppress it, it will destroy my body. Night Sorrow said. Jianghu's family is really shameless. 2 venerables came to kill us. They really think highly of us. Xuanhuan was angry because Jianghu's actions were very embarrassing. Normally, venerables wouldn't do such things. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's nothing. How did you offend such a crazy dog? Xuanhuan asked while helping Night Sorrow to roast the meat. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything. There was nothing to hide, so he told Xuanhuan about the conflict with Jiyu's family. Damn, they don't like it, but they're still so shameless. They can even kill ordinary people. I really can't describe them. Xuanhuan said. The problem now is whether they can continue to mobilize more people to attack us. If they send more high-level venerables, we won't be able to hold them off. Night Sorrow expressed his concern. 5p only G first positive VD version 0% his plus I he KZ all is a thief percent. Version, this is indeed a big problem. You can say that it's a crisis for both of us. They have no bottom line. They can do anything. Xuanhuan nodded. Today's situation was already very lucky. If they sent more venerables, they would be in big trouble. It's hard to say if they can chase us down or not. After all, it's not easy to chase two people in this vast wasteland. How about this, we can find a place and hide for 10 days to half a month. Even if they want to chase us down, they'll avoid us. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, all right, then we'll find a safe place to stay. You can also heal your wounds. Xuanhuan nodded. After roasting the deer, the two of them began drinking and talking about what they had seen. There's something else. This is that guy's storage ring. Xuanhuan threw Ji Yufeng's storage ring to Night Sorrow. This time I dragged you into this mess. Take this as compensation. Yi Shang threw Ji Yufeng's storage ring to Xuanhuan again. Don't say that. Since we're brothers who fought together, there's no need to be so polite. Take it. Xuanhuan threw the storage ring to Night Sorrow again and said seriously. Chapter 609. Genius 1 second remember love divided by go divided by little? I will provide you with interesting novels to read. Ji Yufeng was quite rich. He had over 200 pieces of top-grade spirit stones and some other kinds of magic pills. Among them, there were 2 pieces of magic crystals with the nature of thunder. One was light purple, while the other was dark purple. Love go little say web, chew then the two of them began to divide the crystals. Looking at the 2 thunder-attributed crystals, Xuanhuan picked up the dark purple one and said, Dark thunder-attributed crystal, it matches my attribute. It's mine. You don't want this one? Night Sorrow looked at the other thunder-attributed crystal and asked. One for each of us. That one contains too much purple flame thunder energy. It's not suitable for me, said Xuanhuan. Then I'll take it. My 9th sister is also my fiancée. She has the purple flame thunder attribute. Night Sorrow put away the purple flame thunder attributed crystal and said, Not bad, senior sister. You're good. Xuanhuan gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Yishang only smiled. He knew that Xuanhuan was a happy-go-lucky and outspoken person, but there was absolutely no problem with his character. After each of them drank a jar of wine, the 2 of them changed their direction and flew for 2 hours. They found a suitable place to camp. It's my first time hiding from someone. How frustrating. This is not over yet. After setting up a big tent with Night Sorrow, Xuanhuan cursed. Then the 2 of them talked for a while, then sat down to cultivate. Night Sorrow needed to heal himself and continue to absorb the sword chi of time that Jiuhao left in his body. Jiuhao returned to Dragontail City, then took the teleportation formation back to Taiching City, to his family's stronghold. In the stronghold, Jiuhao told Xuanhuan what happened today. You can't make any mistakes. Don't get involved in this. I'll go and take a look. If I see them, I'll definitely kill them, said Xuanhuan with hatred, because Ji Yufeng was his big brother's youngest son. It'll be difficult to chase after them. After all, it's hard to find people in the vast wasteland. If Uncle wants to go, then bring some people and block them outside Dragontail City. They'll definitely come back, said Jiuhao. They didn't know that Yao Yang had also brought a few people to the Taiching domain and even to Dragontail City. It was too easy for Qianji Tower to investigate some things. Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan would drink and chat when they had nothing to do. The rest of the time they would cultivate. Night Sorrow had been healing himself the whole time. Jiuhao's sword power of time was very hard to deal with. It took him 3 days to fully absorb the sword power of time inside his body and return to his peak condition. The 2 of them stayed for half a month before they once again set off towards the night moon. I'm so angry just thinking about it. The Venerable showed off his power to us. He's really shameless. Xuanhuan, who felt very wronged, cursed again. What are you angry about? Didn't he run away in the end? Think about it from another perspective. He's more wrong than us. 2 Venerables came, but we killed one and the other escaped. He'll probably fly into a rage when he gets back. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Killing Ji Yufeng to avenge Gugu's father made him very happy. It could be said that Night Sorrow solved a problem. That's true. If you think about it this way, we're the ones who took advantage of him. You should be angry and sad. It's worth celebrating. Come and get the wine. Xuanhuan, who was sitting on the back of the silver-winged eagle, waved at Night Sorrow. In the beginning, Xuanhuan drank his own wine, but after drinking Night Sorrow's wine, he didn't like his wine anymore. Night Sorrow took out a jar of green blood wine and threw it over. There are two sides to everything. It's easy to misunderstand if you only see one side. Besides, they're venerables and they didn't do anything to us. When we enter the venerable realm, it'll be even harder for them to kill us. Love, go little say W, Chu, however that guy's attributes are indeed abnormal. If we can't restrain him, he can rely on his speed to stay in an invincible position. Xuanhuan sighed and said, there's nothing that can't be solved. We can slowly think about it. Night Sorrow didn't think that the time attribute was scary. The power of desolates and the innate bloodline power were comparable to the time attribute. The void attribute even surpassed the time attribute and suppressed it. Okay, I don't think there's any danger on the way. However, we have to be careful on the way back to Dragontail City. They might block the road, Xuanhuan said. Yishang nodded. He had thought about this before, but he planned to go to Yiyuetian to take a look first. The two of them traveled during the day and rested at night to cultivate. They weren't very tired. Half a month later, the two of them arrived in the vicinity of Night Moon City. The battle had affected a wide area, causing the area to be very desolate. Some small cities had been severely damaged. Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan entered a small city called Wuyo City. This small city was only 2,000 miles away from Night Moon City. After entering the desolate city, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan found a tea house. Why is it so desolate? Night Sorrow asked after ordering a pot of tea. Because the owner of this area hasn't returned. The owner of the tea house sighed and said. Night Sorrow lowered his head and took a deep breath. It's so desolate. If we don't rebuild it, everyone's living conditions will be lowered. Only and N is the original HF version, FS is the original, his QE is the pirated version. So what if it's lowered? Lowering living conditions in exchange for being able to fight when needed. It's worth it. The owner of the tea house glanced at Night Sorrow and left. There wasn't much business in the tea house because almost no cultivators came here. The people who lived here were all natives. They exchanged all their wealth for battle resources and waited for the Night Clan to return. Because even if they build it now, they can't withstand the robbery of other forces. Xuanhuan said. Their faith hasn't changed. After so many years, their fighting spirit hasn't decreased. They're still waiting for battle. It's rare and precious. Night Sorrow's blood was boiling because these were the people of Night Moon Dynasty. Their obsession hadn't changed after so many years. After drinking tea, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan left the tea house and walked in the city. Desolate, with a sense of vicissitudes. There's no Wuyo at all. The damage left by the dynasties is too great. Xuanhuan said. Maybe this really was Wuyo City back then. Night Sorrow said. Of course. This used to be Prince Wuyo's territory. It's the real Wuyo City. Although Prince Wuyo and young concubine are gone, we Night Moon people are still here. This is still Wuyo City. An old man with a walking stick heard Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan's conversation and said. With faith and obsession, this will always be Wuyo City. Night Sorrow said with some emotion. Can you let me see the jade pendant on your waist? The old man was originally hunchbacked. When he saw the jade pendant on Night Sorrow's waist, he immediately straightened his back. His turbid eyes flashed. Yishang looked at the old man and met his gaze. He didn't know who this old man was. This was the former core of Night Moon Dynasty. Night Sorrow had to consider whether there were people from other dynasties here. Chapter 610. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow nodded and took off the jade pendant from his waist. He glanced at it and handed it to the old man. Blood thread jade. This is the real jade pendant of the royal family. I am Gujun. May I know if this jade pendant belongs to you or? The old man said as he held the jade pendant with trembling hands. Let's find a place to talk. Night Sorrow knew that this old man should be an old man from the Night Moon Dynasty. His emotional fluctuations could not be faked. After that, the old man called Gujun brought Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan to a small inn. The small inn didn't seem to have any signs of life, but looking at the antique carvings on the lintel and the 2 pillars, as well as the sandalwood chairs in the inn, Night Sorrow knew that this must have been a very elegant and high-class inn in the past. Can you tell me more about this jade pendant? Night Sorrow asked. You have to tell me where this jade pendant came from before I can decide how much to tell you. Gu Jun had been sizing up Night Sorrow. That's fine too. This is a jade pendant that I've always carried with me since I was a child. I don't know the specifics, but I can tell you in detail. Night Sorrow then told him about how he had been adopted in the eastern Xian region. According to this, do you think you are Night Moon's descendant? Gu Jun looked into Night Sorrow's eyes and asked. Yes, so please enlighten me. Love go little say. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Gu Jun. You might be the descendant of Night Moon. However, it's only a possibility. I don't know if you're telling the truth, so I can't tell you too much. Gu Jun shook his head and said. You're being a little unreasonable. My brother has said so much to you and this is your answer? Xuanhuan said somewhat angrily. I'm sorry. It's true that this jade pendant is from Wuyo City. You have the jade pendant, but it's still lacking in other areas. Gu Jun said after pondering for a while. AI, give me back my jade pendant. Night Sorrow was helpless. This old man called Gu Jun obviously knew a lot of things, but he didn't say anything. This is the jade pendant of Prince Wuyo from Wuyo City. Please cherish it. Gu Jun hesitated for a moment before handing the jade pendant to Night Sorrow. Yes or no, I don't need to prove anything. I just need to do what I should do. Night Sorrow didn't want to force this stubborn old man, so he shook his head and left the inn. The Night Moon Empire is already in such a state. Who needs to pretend? Interesting. Xuanhuan glanced at Gu Jun before following Night Sorrow out of the inn. Unless you have the bloodline talent of the Night Moon Empire, no one will know anything from the Night Moon people. Gu Jun said as he looked at Yi Shan's back. That's right, Gu Jun said as he looked at Yi Shan's back. Night Sorrow thought for a while and felt that this old man called Gu Jun was definitely not a problem. He turned around and unleashed his bloodline talent, causing a spatial rend to appear on the empty street. After the spatial rend was unleashed, a black spatial rend appeared in front of Night Sorrow and extended far away. Spatial rend. This is the spatial rend that only the direct descendants of the Night Moon Empire can unleash. Greetings, young master. The old man, who was Gu Jun, trembled and his eyes were filled with astonishment. In the end, tears appeared in his eyes as he knelt on one knee and greeted Night Sorrow. You're thinking too much. I'm not a young master. I just want to know how much you can tell me if this jade pendant belongs to me. Night Sorrow helped Gu Jun up from behind. Young master, please come in. Gu Jun bowed and led Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan into the inn. Can you tell me now? Night Sorrow looked at Gu Jun and asked. Other than your family name, there are 7 cloud patterns at the bottom of your jade pendant. This is a jade pendant that only the direct descendants of the Night Moon Empire can possess. It is also the highest grade jade pendant. Behind it is the family totem and below it is the pattern of Wuyo. The 5 lines in the pattern are obviously thicker. This proves that young master is the 5th generation, the 5th direct descendant of the Night Moon Empire of Wuyo City. Gu Jun said. How many 5th generation descendants are there in Wuyo City? Night Sorrow asked as he touched the jade pendant. There's only one person. This means that the owner of this jade pendant is young master. Gu Jun said. There are so few direct descendants in the Night Moon Empire? Xuanhuan asked in astonishment. No, the other branches have many descendants. However, Wuyo only has one descendant. I'm not sure about the previous generations, but the undefeated King Prince Ling Huan's generation had only one descendant. Prince Wuyo's generation has only one descendant. Young Master's generation also has only one descendant. Gu Jun explained slowly. With Gu Jun's explanation, Night Sorrow had a better understanding of the hierarchy in the Night Moon Empire. If the 2nd generation entered the honorable realm or made outstanding contributions to the empire, they would be conferred the title of emperor. If the 3rd generation entered the honorable realm or made outstanding contributions, they would be conferred the title of prince. If the 4th generation reached a certain level, they would be conferred the title of prince. Their wives would be addressed differently too. They would be addressed as imperial concubine, princess concubine, young concubine. As for the rest, no matter how high their seniority was, as long as they were not at that level, they would be addressed as young master. Their wives would be addressed as madam. Back then, the city lord of Wuyo City, Yi Wuyo, was conferred the title of Prince Wuyo. He married the daughter of the city lord of Beiyu City. After their child was born, they went to Beiyu City to visit their relatives. When the war broke out, Gu Jun was one of Yi Wuyo's followers. Hence, he was very clear about it. At the critical moment, Yi Wuyo used the spatial rend to send his 2 guards and young master away from the battlefield. After that, he and his wife engaged in a bloody battle with the enemy. However, as they were outnumbered, they could only retreat with his wife and a portion of his followers. At most new chapter, section L above you J/. When Yi Wuyo and his wife retreated to the Night Moon Empire, the war broke out. After that, Gu Jun never saw Yi Wuyo and his wife again until today. Then I don't understand. Young master could be Night Sorrow. If he was sent away by Prince Wuyo using the spatial rend, how could his guards be killed? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. This is not hard to understand. After tearing the spatial rend, Prince Wuyo did not enter. Instead, he used the spatial rend to send the three of them away. Under such circumstances, it could only be a short distance teleportation. This would require the guards to have the spatial rend crystal with them. If they could open the spatial rend again, the enemy could still chase after them. Gu Jun said. The space-breaking crystal was a kind of magic treasure unique to the Night Moon dynasty. It was made by a high-level cultivator of the Night Moon clan by injecting the power of space into it. Night Sorrow took out a map and looked at it. After looking at it, Night Sorrow closed his eyes and stabilized his emotions. Beiyu City was in the northwest corner of the Taiqing domain. It was not far from the southern Sky City in the southeast corner of the eastern Xian domain. That means Prince Wuyo and young concubine did not die in the battle? After a while, Night Sorrow looked at Gu Jun with a hopeful gaze and asked. This old servant does not dare to say. As servants, we know too little about that battle. After all, those who can enter the Night Moon Empire are all titled. There are only a limited number of people who do not have titles. Servants do not have the opportunity to know. Gu Jun said. At this moment, Night Sorrow could almost confirm his identity. After receiving this information, Night Sorrow bowed to Gu Jun. Young master, please don't. This old servant used to be the manager of the city lord's mansion. How would I dare to accept such a bow from young master? Gu Jun saw Night Sorrow bowing to him and quickly bowed back. Night Sorrow, Prince Wuyo and young concubine should be fine. They might have left along with their family's strategy. Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and said. He was worried that Night Sorrow would take things too hard. Chapter 6:11. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? We provide you with interesting novels to read. I believe they will be fine. Uncle Gu Jun, I will go to the Night Moon Sky later to take a look. Night Sorrow said. Young master, please don't call me that. The Night Moon Sky is very dangerous. I don't know for the past few years, but the people from the other empires have been monitoring that place to see if there are any core members of the Night Moon Empire. It's better if young master doesn't go. Gu Jun said. No. I must go. Night Sorrow shook his head and said. This old servant will make a trip first. Young master, please stay in this inn first, said Gu Jun. That's not appropriate. Night Sorrow wouldn't let Gu Jun take the risk. It's okay. I will go to the Night Moon City to pay my respects every year. Although I haven't entered the Night Moon Sky, I can still find out the general situation. Gu Jun said. Night Sorrow, let's do as Uncle Gu Jun says. This is more appropriate. After all, we have just caused trouble. Xuanhuan said. Young master, please follow me. Gu Jun brought Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan to the inn and arranged a room for them before leaving. Night Sorrow, I thought that you were the descendant of the Night Moon Empire. However, I didn't expect you to be the most direct descendant. After hearing Gu Jun's words, Xuanhuan was greatly shocked. Actually, this isn't important. Whether I am the direct descendant or not, I will fight. As long as I am alive, the enemies of the Night Moon Empire will have to pay the price. Night Sorrow said. Brother, the Yun family empire and the Night Moon Empire are allies. Don't bear grudges. Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and quickly explained. I know. I even met the king of the Yun family empire a while ago. Night Sorrow said. You've seen our family's old man? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com Yun Tianlong is your grandfather? Then your seniority must be very high? Yishang looked at Xuanhuan and sized him up. My grandfather was the youngest son of the old master. However, due to a congenital deficiency, he was unable to cultivate. Due to his short lifespan, he passed away a long time ago. Thus, the old master valued my father a lot. As for me, I am my father's youngest son. You know what I mean? Xuanhuan said with a smile. After the two of them drank their tea, they strolled around the worry-free city casually. See, original Yu chapter on DD. Wuyo City was desolate, barren, and devoid of people. But looking at the buildings, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan knew that it must have been very prosperous in the past because the buildings in the city were very stylish. When the two of them arrived at the city lord's mansion, they found that there was no one inside. but it was very clean. Night Sorrow could be sure that there were people cleaning this place every day. There's no need to look around. As long as there are people here, there won't be any problems when this place becomes prosperous again in the future. Xuanhuan said. He knew what Gu Jun said today. The situation in Wuyo City still had a huge impact on Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. The two of them did not continue to stroll around. After that, they returned to the inn to meditate and rest. Night Sorrow was now cultivating in several aspects at the same time. Since his true chi had reached the 9th grade void inquiry stage, he could not cultivate at full speed. He could only cultivate while accumulating his chi. After waiting for 5 days, Gu Jun finally returned. At this moment, Night Sorrow was actually very anxious. When he saw Gu Jun, Night Sorrow asked him about the situation. Gu Jun came back late. Firstly, it was because the journey was still a little far. Secondly, he was very meticulous in his observation. Hence, it was a waste of time. The information that Gu Jun brought back was that the night moon was very quiet. There was nothing unusual. However, there were still people who frequently went to the Night Moon City to pay their respects. After receiving the news that it was safe, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan left the inn and headed towards the Night Moon City. Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan only used half a day to travel a distance of less than 3,000 li * 500 m per li. The Night Moon City occupied an area of several thousand li * 500 m per li. However, it was already in a dilapidated state. However, from the majestic city walls and city gates, one could see how powerful the Night Moon dynasty was in the past. Night Sorrow felt that the overall scale of the Night Moon City was not much different from Taiching City. Night Sorrow, let's calm down a little. The people of the Night Moon dynasty just retreated. It's not like they were annihilated. They will definitely fight back. Xuanhuan said. I know. I'm very calm. Actually, I came here this time mainly because I want to see the place where my family used to live and find out about them. As for the defeat, it's just in the past. It's nothing. If we lost in the past, we'll just have to win in the future. Night Sorrow's face was very calm. This was the state of mind. As his state of mind improved, Night Sorrow could face some things calmly. In other words, there were very few things that could affect Night Sorrow. The Night Moon City did not have any defenses. It could even be said that there were no guards. Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan directly walked in. Currently, the Night Moon City was in a special situation. There were no supreme experts. Even if the Night Moon dynasty still had supreme experts, they would not easily appear. As for the threat of demonic beasts attacking the city, there was no such thing. During the peak of the Night Moon dynasty, all the high-level demonic beasts within tens of thousands of miles had been cleared. If low-level demonic beasts attacked the city, the cultivators in the city could resist them. As for the high-level cultivators of the other dynasties, they would not come here. This was because the wealth here was either taken away by the people of the Night Moon dynasty or plundered. The high-level cultivators came here to monitor the situation of the Night Moon dynasty. This was also something that happened more than 10 years ago. In these few decades, the Night Moon dynasty did not make any moves. The other dynasties also did not pay attention to it. That would be a waste of energy. Walking in the Night Moon City, Night Sorrow looked around. He knew that there were traces of his parents here. Xuanhuan did not speak along the way. He kept looking around vigilantly. He knew that Night Sorrow looked calm, but his mind was not focused. His thoughts were chaotic, so he had to rely on him for safety. The Night Moon City was very big. Night Sorrow did not look for a beast carriage. The two of them walked slowly on the streets. Xuanhuan, who understood Night Sorrow's situation, quietly followed behind Night Sorrow. After walking for 4 hours, Night Sorrow smiled embarrassedly at Xuanhuan. Then he called for a beast carriage and rushed towards the Night Moon dynasty. Noticing Night Sorrow's smile, Xuanhuan felt more at ease. This was because he knew that Night Sorrow's state of mind had returned to normal. He had walked out of his contemplation and reminiscence. In the afternoon, the two of them arrived at the Night Moon City. Night Moon Dynasty. When Night Sorrow paid the fee, the beast carriage driver took half of the fee. Since you are here, please do not blaspheme the Night Moon Dynasty. Looking at the back of the carriage driver, Night Sorrow felt a sour feeling in his heart. A carriage driver, an ordinary carriage driver, was also contributing silently to the Night Moon Dynasty. Not for anything else, but to prevent the Night Moon Dynasty from being blasphemed. Such a dynasty will definitely rise again. This is because glory and faith are already in their blood, in their bones. Xuanhuan was also touched. Chapter 6:12. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. The central area of the Night Moon City was the Night Moon Lake. The area of the Night Moon Lake was very large, spanning hundreds of miles. At the center was an island with a radius of hundreds of miles. That was the core area of the Night Moon Empire, the Night Moon Sky. At this time, the Night Moon Sky was full of broken beams and tiles. It was not that the people of the Night Moon did not want to repair it, but even if they repaired it, it would still be destroyed. In order to not be trampled on, the people of the Night Moon decided not to repair and build. Following an ancient stone bridge, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan walked towards the island. Night Sorrow reached out and touched the gap in the railing of the stone bridge. He flicked his finger twice. That was the gap caused by the sputtering of energy during the battle. That was the mark of a battle. Closing his eyes to calm his emotions, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan walked along the stone bridge towards the Night Moon. The two of them walked like ordinary people. Half an hour later they arrived at the Night Moon. After looking around at the dilapidated scene, the two of them walked towards the center of the Night Moon. The wind from the lake blew against Yixiang's robes, causing them to flutter. Yixiang would occasionally look at the rubble that had been cleared out of the building. There were all sorts of energy slashes on it. An hour later, Night Sorrow arrived at a plaza. Behind the plaza was a destroyed palace. The square had been cleared out. In the middle of the square was a huge inscription with the words Night Moon's Heroic Spirit written on it. In front of it was a large cauldron with incense still burning in it. Everything told of the tragedy and injustice of that year. Night Sorrow reached out and touched the inscription. Then he realized that the dark purple words on it were not dye at all, but blood. Xuanhuan lit 2 incense sticks that were prepared by someone beside the cauldron and placed them on the platform in front of the cauldron. Then he took out a few incense sticks and handed them to Night Sorrow. With a flick of his finger, Night Sorrow ignited the incense with his alchemic fire and inserted it into the cauldron. Night Sorrow, let's kowtow a few times. Xuanhuan said. No. I don't have the qualifications to kneel and kowtow in front of them now, but in the future. In the future I will formally greet them. Night Sorrow waved his hand and quietly stood in front of the cauldron, looking at the inscription. After standing for a while, Night Sorrow brought Xuanhuan to the damaged palace. There was a rectangular groove on the lintel of the main hall. Not far away there was a cracked stone plaque with 4 words on it, Never Setting Night Moon. A crack appeared on the stone plaque, and the 4 words on it were chopped off, leaving behind an energy ravine. Night Sorrow squatted down and wiped the dust off the horizontal board as if he was wiping a treasure. Ai go shao shua 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 w. Ai chuex. After glancing at Night Sorrow, Xuanhuan went to the side and found a large rock. Then he waved his scimitar and cut the rock. Then he started digging on top of it and made a groove according to the size of the stone plaque. Nodding at Xuanhuan, Yixiang moved the broken stone plaque into the card slot and embedded it properly. This way the stone plaque would be protected. Thank you, brother. One day I will hang this plaque here again. Whoever stops me I will kill them. Night Sorrow's aura exploded, and his battle intent rippled in all directions. Good. If there's a battle, remember to count me in. Xuanhuan patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, I thought you would persuade me. Night Sorrow nodded at Xuanhuan and kept the plaque in his storage ring. Why should I persuade you? I believe you can do it. It's just that it might be a little difficult. Xuanhuan smiled at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan did not leave. The two of them walked around the island and came to the back of the Night Moon. Behind the Night Moon was a spatial hole filled with chaotic energy. The two of them could see the churning black sea water in the hole. Translator. Nioibo Studio Editor. Nioibo Studio. This was the place where the Night Moon Dynasty came from. It was also the origin of the Night Moon Dynasty, the Night Moon Sea. This is the forbidden area of the Night Moon tribe. Without the spatial Ren skill, you can't break through the chaotic spatial energy. Without the spatial energy protection you can't survive. Xuanhuan said. After a while, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan returned to the front of the monument. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and passed it to Xuanhuan. He took out another jar of wine for himself and poured half of it in front of the monument. Then he drank the rest in one gulp. Xuanhuan did the same as Night Sorrow. Ancestors of the Night Moon clan, you can rest in peace. Leave the battle to Night Sorrow. As long as I don't fall, Night Sorrow will definitely regain the glory that belongs to the Night Moon Dynasty. Night Sorrow shouted. You're back. That's enough. Xuanhuan nodded. Shameless boasting. A remnant dares to speak. A black-clothed man appeared in front of Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan. This guy is a level 3 honorable. Xuanhuan said to Night Sorrow. He had a special detection technique that could detect the cultivation of an opponent who was less than 5 ranks higher than him. Don't worry. You should at least tell me where you're from. Knight Sorrow shook his waist and the reincarnation spear appeared in his hand. He stared at the black-clothed man. Tianfeng Dynasty, Xuanhuan. A long sword appeared in the black-clothed man's hand. Your Tianfeng Dynasty is still monitoring this place. Looks like you don't plan to let this go. Knight Sorrow said. You're unlucky. Because today is the Night Moon Night, the remnant of the Night Moon tribe came to pay respects to their ancestors. I came to see if there were any true remnants of the Night Moon tribe. I didn't expect to see you here. Destroy your cultivation and I'll spare your life. Xuanhuan looked at Knight Sorrow and said. It was already dark. There were many people outside the square. They were all citizens of the Night Moon King City who came to pay respects to their ancestors. All right. I don't know if I'm the unlucky one or you are the unlucky one. The Night Moon tribe only has the souls of those who died in battle. There are no survivors. Knight Sorrow stomped his feet and waved his reincarnation spear towards Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan waved his long sword in the air and the sword chi slashed towards Knight Sorrow. While Knight Sorrow dodged the sword chi, he started to fight with Xuanhuan. At this moment, the people of the Night Moon tribe who came to pay respects also took out their weapons and were ready to fight. Don't move. You'll only cause trouble for Knight Sorrow. Xuanhuan blocked the group of people of the Night Moon tribe who were full of fighting spirit. An old man looked at the battle in the air and repeated Knight Sorrow's words with trembling lips. The Night Moon tribe only has the souls of those who died in battle. There are no survivors. Prince Linghuan said the same thing back then. The battle in the air was very intense. Xuanhuan was very fast and relied on the sword chi to suppress Knight Sorrow. If Knight Sorrow wanted to fight in close range, he wouldn't give him a chance. It was like a cat chasing a mouse. Dog-like person and dog-like tactics. A level 3 honorable still wants to fight in a guerrilla battle. Xuanhuan scolded. Haha, you'll all die in a while. Xuanhuan laughed. He wanted to see the helpless expressions of this group of people. Then you'll die first. After Knight Sorrow released the spear light, he released the space rend followed by the soul destruction slash. Knight Sorrow knew that Xuanhuan was very fast. If he didn't hit him, it would be troublesome if he attacked again. Therefore he didn't want to give him a chance to breathe and used his ultimate move to kill him. Under the moonlight, the black space rend was very obvious. Xuanhuan's expression changed and he dodged to the side. Chapter 613. Genius 1 second remember love/go/little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. When Xuanhuan's eyes were filled with fear and he had no strength to resist, Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear slashed across Xuanhuan's neck. He used his left hand to punch Xuanhuan's chest and sent him flying. Xuanhuan's body flew backward. Knight Sorrow chased after him and waved his reincarnation spear, chopping off Xuanhuan's arms. Then he grabbed Xuanhuan's long sword with his left hand and threw it with all his might. The long sword pierced through Xuanhuan's head and flew backward, nailing him to the tip of the tombstone. Today I will use your blood to pay tribute to my Yi clan's martyrs. Slowly I will bring the heads of your Tianfeng dynasty's leaders here. I, Knight Sorrow, am coming for the Night Moon dynasty. The battle begins today. As long as you live, the battle will not stop. Knight Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear, which was still stained with blood, and roared. Your surname is Yi. Who are you? The old man who wanted to fight pointed at Knight Sorrow with a trembling finger and asked. There will probably be more people coming. I don't have time to talk to you. You should leave too. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. Xuanhuan took Xuanhuan's storage ring and pulled Knight Sorrow to the outskirts of the Night Moon dynasty. He was worried that there would be people monitoring this place. I will be back. Knight Sorrow turned his head to look at the blood-stained tombstone and said, Love/go/little, say, web/w. AIQX. So after Knight Sorrow and Xuanhuan flew for a while, they released their mounts. Knight Sorrow, you have to be careful now. Not to mention whether there are other venerables here, there must be spies from other dynasties. This matter might blow up. Xuanhuan said worriedly. That can't be helped. Since we've been discovered, we must fight. Knight Sorrow didn't want to be exposed so early, but the development of the situation was beyond his expectations. Ninth uncle, that young man used spatial rend. That spatial rend. Another old man stepped forward and said to the first old man. Night Moon's direct descendant, that's Night Moon's direct descendant. Yi Qingfeng, bring people to clean up this place. Clean up as many spies as you can. It's best if the news doesn't spread. The old man shouted to the second old man. It's too late. Just now there were already quite a number of black shadows leaving. The second old man Yi Qingfeng sighed. Knight Sorrow and Xuanhuan returned to Wuyo City and went to Gu Jun's inn. Young lord, are you injured? Gu Jun asked as he looked at the blood-stained Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow shook his head and took a clean robe to take a bath. Original T original 0L Xuanhuan recounted what had happened during their trip. Young lord killed a level 3 martial honor opponent. That's incredible. Gu Jun said excitedly after hearing Xuanhuang's story. After a while, Knight Sorrow returned with a clean robe. Xuanhuang, you know that I want to take a bath. Can't you make a pot of tea? Knight Sorrow, you really have the style of a young master. But because of your prowess today I have to make this tea. Xuanhuang looked at Knight Sorrow with disdain and started to make the tea. Yishang. Young master's name should be Yi Xiaoxiao, Gu Jun said to Yishang after hearing how Xuanhuang addressed him. Knight Sorrow. I'm drunk on this name. But it's also very elegant. Xuanhuang looked at Knight Sorrow and turned around. He couldn't help but laugh. Back then young concubine gave young lord the name Xiao, hoping that young lord could live with a smile. Prince Wu Yu felt that laughter was very important to a person's mentality, so he added the word, Xiao. Hence the name Knight Sorrow came about. Gu Jun explained the origin of the name, Knight Sorrow. I might not be Knight Sorrow. Even if I was, that was in the past. My current name was given to me by Father Gu, who raised me, is to pay tribute to the 2 guards who died protecting me. Knight Sorrow said. Everything matches. There's no mistake about it. As for the name, we'll talk about it when we meet Prince and young concubine. Gu Jun said. How about this, we won't leave for the time being. Uncle Gu Jun, you can go to Night Moon City and take a look at the situation. I don't want the citizens of Night Moon City to have to bear the consequences of my actions. Yishang was worried that the death of the supremacy would enrage those people and cause them to do something outrageous. Gu Jun nodded his head and left. He was also worried that something would happen in Night Moon City. We have to hurry up and cultivate. Some martial honors are really shameless. They really did something to us. Xuanhuang said. In the past, there were almost no cases of martial honors attacking ordinary cultivators. When Gu Jun arrived at Night Moon City, he realized that the situation was different from what he expected. Night Moon City was still very quiet. However, there was a sense of killing in the silence. The killing aura came from the guards of Night Moon City. They were patrolling the streets. Although their cultivation wasn't high, their fighting spirit was high. On the tombstone of Night Moon City, xuanhuan's corpse was still hanging. There were people watching from the side. After asking around, someone said that the corpse would be exposed for 7 days to punish him for his blasphemy towards the ancestors of Night Moon Dynasty. After hearing Gu Jun's report and knowing that Night Moon City was peaceful, Knight Sorrow and Xuanhuang stayed. They didn't leave because they were worried. They were worried that if the news spread out, it would cause a huge commotion. They were worried that the consequences would be borne by the citizens of Night Moon City. Knight Sorrow felt that if there was a battle, he would bear the consequences. Of course, Xuanhuang would accompany him. In fact, just as Knight Sorrow and Xuanhuang predicted, xuanhuan's death and the appearance of the descendants of Night Moon Dynasty caused a huge commotion in the Taiqing region. The Tianfeng Dynasty, Golden Dragon King Dynasty, Qingming Dynasty, Red Leaf Dynasty, and Seven Star Dynasty were all ready to make a move. However, at this time the Yun Dynasty's king Yun Tianlong sent out a king's order. If any faction dared to attack the citizens of Night Moon City, or if any martial honor dared to enter Night Moon City, the core members of that faction would be killed by him. If the appearance of the descendants of Night Moon Dynasty caused a huge commotion, then Yun Tianlong's king's order caused a huge commotion. Yun Tianlong was the vice city lord of Taiqing City. When city lord Yi Tian wasn't around, he was the person with the highest authority. This was a righteous order, and it was also due to the deterrence of an invincible martial honor. Yun Tianlong was an invincible martial honor. If anyone provoked him, he would kill that person. Who could stop him? The 5 dynasties wouldn't make a move for the citizens of Night Moon City who weren't led by a martial honor. Lin Yuandao, who received the news, accidentally crushed the teacup in his hand. This brat killed a 3rd-level martial honor and caused such a huge commotion. He's going to turn the sky upside down. He killed a 3rd-level martial honor before entering the martial honor realm. That's cruel enough, but he also threw himself into the limelight. Lu Trinswan said. It's not a big deal, but it's not a big deal either. The dynasties probably won't directly send people to attack Night Moon City. As long as he stops for a while, it won't be a big problem. Once he enters the martial honor realm, ordinary martial honor realm experts won't be a match for him. His safety shouldn't be a problem. Lin Yuandao said after thinking for a while. The war against the Tianfeng dynasty can't wait any longer. It must be carried out as soon as possible. Le Trin Swan said. Chapter 6:14. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with exciting novels to read. Yi Shang and Yun Huang were very comfortable in Carefree City. When they had nothing to do, they would take a stroll around Carefree City. The rest of the time they would cultivate in the inn. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. Zhonggu Jun often left. He wanted to know the news outside. Night Moon Dynasty had been defeated, but there were many people and they were still well informed. Half a month later, Gu Jun told Night Sorrow and Yun Huang the news he had heard. My old man is really domineering. Yun Huang said excitedly. Will this bring trouble to your Yun dynasty? Night Sorrow said worriedly. Bullshit. They're awesome. Why don't they try provoking my Yun dynasty? My old man is an invincible venerable. He can't crush them. Attack our Yun dynasty? We have invincible venerables and many peak venerables. They wouldn't dare. Besides, they won't go to war. Yun Huang said with a smile. Love, go little say W. Chu you bastard, how do you know that they won't dare to go to war? Yun Tianlong, who was dressed in a black robe and had golden hair, appeared in the inn. Old master, you're here. Yun Huang rubbed his hair and bowed to Yun Tianlong. Night Sorrow also stood up and cupped his hands to Yun Tianlong. Not bad to be able to kill a venerable before entering the venerable realm. However, you're really bold. Yun Tianlong sat down and said. Old man, did you do something to my body? Yun Huang checked his body and asked Yun Tianlong. Nonsense. If I didn't leave a mark and you went missing, where would this king find you? Yun Tianlong glared at Yun Huang. Yun Huang rubbed his messy golden hair and didn't say anything. It's fine as long as the two of you are fine. Yun Tianlong took the tea that Yun Huang poured and glanced at Night Sorrow and Yun Huang again. Thank you, your majesty, for your help. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said. Don't worry about it. I don't think the two of you are willing to leave with me. You can just stay here. If an expert appears, Yun Huang, take out your identity token. If they dare attack you after seeing your identity token, crush this. Yun Tianlong took out a milky white stone and tossed it to Yun Huang. What is this? Yun Huang asked as he held the milky white object. Soul cultivating stone. Inside is a soul clone. Night Sorrow whispered to Yun Huang. You know quite a bit. However, it's not a soul clone. It's just a strand of soul power. It'll be enough to resolve a crisis. At the same time, this king will also know the specifics of what happened back then. As long as he knows who it was, would he still dare to make a move? Yun Tianlong said. Then Yun Tianlong left. He wasn't a sloppy person. Although he was worried about the safety of his juniors, he still gave them enough space to explore. It's nothing big. We'll just stay here for a while. Yun Huang said. Night Sorrow nodded. He also wanted to stay here for a while and experience Wuyo City. Then the two of us will slowly cultivate. If we go out now and run into those shameless people, we'll still be unlucky. Yun Huang opened his mouth and said. I'm sorry, Yun Huang said. Once our cultivation increases, we'll go to their territory and kill them. We'll burn down their strongholds one by one. Night Sorrow clenched his fists and said. That's a good idea. I like it. Yun Huang clapped. Gu Jun wanted to say something but he didn't say anything. He was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. However, Night Moon Dynasty had a hierarchy. There were some things that he couldn't interfere with. Night Sorrow didn't care about the outside world. He and Yun Huang cultivated in Wuyo City. When Lin Yuandao arrived at Eastern Xian region, he told Wu Lingfei everything. This guy is really restless. Then let's declare war on Tianfeng Dynasty. Eastern Xian region's City Lord Manor and Celestial Peak's Imperial Palace can both send some people. Wu Lingfei said. Then I'll go inform the other regions. Then we'll meet at Celestial Peak Pavilion. Lin Yuandao stood up and said. After Lin Yuandao left, Wu Lingfei went to the training ground where the god-slaying team was. Seeing Wu Lingfei arrive, the god-slaying team members stopped cultivating. Your mission was given by your captain. Night Sorrow isn't here, so I'll tell you about the situation. Tianji Tower and Eastern Xian region are going to declare war on Taiqing region's Tianfeng Dynasty. Whether you want to fight or not is up to you, Wu Lingfei said. Wu Lingfei could give the order directly, but she didn't want to break the tradition of the god-slaying team. Besides, the god-slaying team wouldn't have much effect if they didn't fight. City Lord, where is our captain now? Ho Jian asked. He's also in Taiqing region, but he might have run into some trouble. Wu Lingfei said. I propose to fight. Xueling Linglong Liue, what do you all think? Ho Jian turned and asked the members in front of the god-slaying team. Captain isn't here. You and Xueling can make the decision. I can only obey, Linglong said. Fight. This is the best time to make Eastern Shen region famous. Xueling said. Then the members of the god-slaying team all agreed. Then get ready. We'll set off with the City Lord Manor and Tianji Tower later. Wu Lingfei left after giving the order. She still had to go to the City Lord Manor and Tianji Tower to mobilize people. However, the City Lord Manor had limited manpower. Only the Bloodstrike Guards could be freed up. After all, some of the higher-ups had gone to Taiyue region. Ruling Taiyue region required a lot of manpower. Then the people of Eastern Shen region set off. They took the normal teleportation array. Wu Lingfei took everyone to the strategic teleportation array because there was no teleportation array available. This time the Extreme Heaven Tower's actions were very big. Could be said that all the 9 regions knew about it. They all knew that the Tianfeng dynasty was going to suffer this time. After all, if the Extreme Heaven Tower wanted to attack any force, no force would be able to stop it. Putting everything else aside, the Eastern Shen region and the North Sea region were now Tianji Tower's most reliable partners. What kind of strength was this? The Tianfeng dynasty could only be bullied. Z only \square root of version b %, see others / all 0 unspecified currency is * steel version *ono1 spoke up for the Tianfeng dynasty. The main reason was that the Tianfeng dynasty was constantly challenging Tianji Tower's bottom line. In addition, the war between Eastern Shen region and Qingtian region had nothing to do with the Tianfeng dynasty. However, the Tianfeng dynasty insisted on interfering. The Tianfeng dynasty was gloomy. They used Tianji Tower to establish their prestige in order to establish their position as the #1 dynasty in Taiqing region. They thought that Tianji Tower's principle was to not fight for power and that everything would be fine as long as they controlled themselves. However, they forgot one thing. There were some things that Tianji Tower wouldn't do, but if they had to silently admit that they were being slapped in the face, then they wouldn't be Tianji Tower. The Tianfeng dynasty quickly joined forces with other dynasties. The Golden Dragon King dynasty, Qingming dynasty, Red Leaf dynasty, and Seven Star dynasty all expressed that they wouldn't participate in this matter because they knew that the angry Tianji Tower was not to be trifled with. Even if they attacked together, it wouldn't be useful. Besides, they all thought that they had nothing to do with it.